Alrighty. Let me double check everything good with the stream key. We did in fact go live. Yeah, looking good. Send a quick message out and then I can get to my yapping. Quick little thing. Alrighty. So, Instinct versus Hashira. Game 1. This is Sweat League Losers Bracket. I prefer lower brackets. Semifinals. Going to be Team Instinct versus the Hashira. Both are #1 seeds out of the regular season, finding themselves in the lower bracket and duking it out with some high stakes. Win and you advance, lose and your season, and in fact your whole year, is over. So should be fun. As a reminder, this is a best of 5. And in fact your whole fearless draft, so that's bound to kind of introduce some fun elements to it. And we can see our draft is on screen. To get started, we do have maybe a bit of a, sounds like potentially a bit of a time crunch with some members, hence the earlier start time than usual, but I'm a big fan of it. Lets you maybe have a little bit of your Sunday night back. So just going through the first round, see a Wukong first pick for Instinct. Love that. Like just a very solid blind pickable jungler. Lets you fight early, gives you good team fight late. Answered with Xin Zhao Ziggs, Sivir Ornn, and a Bard. So both teams, you know, I think shaping up for maybe a bit more of a snoozer in the bot lane, assuming that Ziggs is going to be piloted in the bot lane for Hashira and for Deborah Morgan. You know, both champions there looking to just sit back, farm it out. But maybe I'll be proven wrong. I do think, though, when you lock the Bard for the side of Tengen, you're expecting to not really play the lane too much and just get out there and make stuff happen on your own. Got Ririka in the chat. Much love, much love. I think we will have one other person joining me. There was talk of Aleche potentially having interest, and if not, I'm sure CLT may be able to fill in and give me a bit of a breather through what is bound to be a pretty good series. Taking a look at the bans, definitely want to point out the bans in game 1 because with Fearless Draft, they usually stay the same across multiple games. So we see an Ashe, Ivern, Talia ban come through. I think just getting rid of some of the comfort picks for the side of Instinct. I know Eclipse is a great player on that Ashe, able to glide. Ivern, just not a fun champion to play against in general. And then Talia's for Good Boy. Taking that off his docket, I think, is always a good call. Definitely a control mage specialist, so taking out the Talia is something that's very good at kind of setup and skirmishing early. Good call from Hashira. I think 3 safe bans, and then on the side of Instinct, a bit of the same. Getting rid of Akaza's Jarvan. You know, I think Akaza, you think those classic kind of skirmishing early game champions, so get rid of the Jarvan. And then Mel and Hui just trying to set your mid laner up for a favorable matchup as Rakan and Azir are going to round out things for Instinct. And a big spicy pick from the Hashira. A Nasus on R4 into the Ornn. That's a fun one. I think you're just trying to sign yourself up for the scaling game. Look to play the game slow. You know, you already have Sivir Ornn on one side, so locking the Nasus, trying to stack it up, maybe lets you match that. I think lane matchup is honestly pretty fine for you. And then once you get Triforce and a few items, if Instinct's top laner, Arctic, doesn't build up a comfortable lead early on when he still has a bit of an advantage, then that is going to be a tough side lane to potentially deal with. And Yunara is going to round out the draft, so a bit of spice coming out of Hashira this first game, as, was kind of thinking that Ziggs would be bottom lane to match into the Sivir, but it's an R5 Yunara, so we're going to see Ziggs mid. I think that's a very comfortable matchup into Azir. Typically, you're going to want comfortable range into Azir. And then from there, I think we'll just kind of see how things play out. A little bit of talk on draft. Yeah, no, not. I mean, they had the Braum ban and everything. I was thinking maybe. And then this Nasus pick, I mean, I think that's going to be the tail of the game. Because it's really tough to see this Hashira comp losing late if they can stay, within bounds in the early game. This Nasus, he can just feast on the side lane. I don't think Wukong, even Wukong Ornn in the 2v1, I'm not sure if that's really super favorable when Nasus gets to late game, is, able to pop that ulti, get the reduced cooldown on the Q, and just start eating away. And then still great scaling. I mean, Instinct has great scaling as well. Sivir, Ornn, Azir, just a very classic front to back. But I think it's relatively equally matched with this Ziggs Yunara pick. Sivir's that classic scaling late game champion, but Yunara does the exact same. And then Ziggs should be able to keep himself at a very comfortable range, barring maybe some heroics out of Arctic, out of Don Don. I will say the advantage for Instinct lies in their team fighting. They have a lot of good go buttons. They'll be able to just pull the trigger a lot of easier engage, whereas Hashira, you look at their comp and it doesn't look, incredible in terms of team fight setup, but if they can successfully kite out those initial engages, then they'll be able to do some crazy damage. But we will see how that plays out. Looks like we do have an ad. As a reminder, I don't have control over the ads, but we'll see what happens. We'll see bands kind of matched. Get confirmation on the positions. And there we have it. Good match draft. I can X out of my browser. So yeah, this Nasus into the Ornn I think is going to be one of the big pictures here. Can I spect? Oh, I can. Look at that. I think the other lanes you do play relatively even. I'd imagine Azir is kind of able to get the push. Imagine Sivir Yunara maybe a bit of a contested push, but I'm not really expecting the supports to play that lane. Get 10, get on the map, get Don Don on the map, try to impact positively for your top side, because I think that is where this game's going to be decided. Both ADs going to be pretty comfortable scaling up. I don't think there's a lot of kill pressure on either side. early on, barring any missteps. So My eyes are going to be on Avalon and going to be on Akaza, as they usually are when you're watching Hashira games. Eyes are going to be towards the jungle. What can this Xin Zhao do with what I would kind of call three losing lanes if you had to keep it black and white and go winning or losing? I don't think top lane is really winning that strongly. The Ziggs doesn't really have much pressure for you early, and same with the Yunara Bard. You know, until you tick over and get some of these ultimates, there's not going to be a lot of easy damage follow-up. But it is going to be on this Xin Zhao to try to keep his team in it early. That way they can play these late game team fights, play the 4-1 that they've set themselves up for, without falling too far behind in what is also a very strongly scaling team instinct comp. CLT. Got ads on your own channel? I'll try to pause it during potential fights, depending on how things break out. Zig, okay. See, I don't play mid lane. Zig's good into Azir. Yeah, I know that typically into Azir, one of the answers is artillery mages, that Ziggs kind of fits the bill to a T. I just don't know if there's a lot of easy kill pressure, even with Xin Zhao ganking. Like, I feel like there's not a great bit of setup. So that's kind of my area of concern for Hashira is, yes, this Xin Zhao has good angles, but how does he actually like activate those other than, you know, instinct missteps? It doesn't feel like there's a great bit of setup. But if you do have Ziggs push, maybe that changes things. You can start to invade, make some stuff happen. I don't know. I don't think Yunara like beats Sivir. I think Sivir can just comfortably sit in that lane and farm it up. And I think top lane is really the only lane that's like a clear, should be a clear advantage for instinct early. And then once Ziggs gets items, maybe things kind of flip around there. Oh goodness. What's happening here? Well, we just get to theory craft even more. Bit of a problem with Avalon's runes. So going to be a quick remake of the lobby, and we will get back into it. And my other concern for Hashira, especially compared to the Instinct comp, I think something I'd say struggled with watching their coin flip game was it didn't look like they were able to get the engages off early. And when you look at this Hashira comp, the only real engage tool you have is a Tempered Fate out of Bard. So versus Instinct, you have this Ornhorn, you have the Rakan, the Wukong Cyclone, all these tools, these ultis that just scream go. And so I really feel like Hashira need to garner themselves a lead somehow early or in the mid game. I think it's very doable. Chat definitely think it's doable with these lane matchups that they have. And so maybe it'll come more down to the mid game and how these teams fight around some early dragons, some early objectives, and what happens there. Yeah, I mean, there's arguments that can be made for good counter engage, But I'm always a fan of having good engage in the first place. That way, the onus is kind of on you. You know, you think instinct, you think this very clean, collected, together team fight, and you have the tools to do that in this game one. So I'm definitely favoring them if they can get themselves set up in 5v5 situations, just because there are so many tools to kind of help you out there. I think, yes, the Bard and the Xin Zhao can stall the fight, but even then, you still have potentially a few more ultis that can be dropped to help you continue the fight. I can't get rid of that little 20 notification. Kind of irking me. If they can kite the fight back, though, then it looks great. I mean, you have a Ziggs just poking through. You have Yunara gliding. It'll be a fun one, because, you know, I don't think there's a clear early... There's no clear advantage to either side at any stage of the game. And I think more interestingly is both sides are kind of wanting to play a bit of a different game. It's very clear Instinct won a 5v5, whereas Hashira, this Nasus pick is spicy. Is telling me you are looking to play towards this side lane a bit. You know, not a style we see a lot these days with a hard split pusher style comp. So is that something that, you know, Hashira have in this game one here, and that could change the way things work in future games too, because I know people have thoughts on a lot of different teams. My personal thoughts on Instinct is that Arctic tends to be a bit more of a weak side player, and you know, the way to punish a weak side player, you either win elsewhere, which can be pretty tough to do against the rest of the Instinct squad, or, you know, you try to hard strong side that weak against that weak side. And so something like crazy split push champs in Nasus can do that. Get yourself set up for success. But this is Arctic, and he's very stable up there, so it'll be tough to tell if that's actually going to kind of be able to happen and be done by Gyu. Remember seeing him in the coin flip series. I think I casted a little bit of that one, coin flip Hashira, where I was able to not really get a huge lead for himself. So that's something I, in all three games against Theus, a bit of a lead, not quite enough to fully carry the game. So that'll be something I have my eyes a bit on, see what can be kind of accomplished there. And as a reminder, because I do love to be proven wrong, predictions for this match, pretty split from a lot of the panel, I guess. I don't really know how I ended up on this panel, but they asked for predictions, so I dropped them. If you watched Midwest Weekly, it's kind of towards the tail end of the episode. CLT and Rurika have Hashira over Instinct 3-2, expecting a long series there. And then both me and Hairwiz have Instinct winning 3-1. So pretty split. You know, I think both these teams look like the strongest in their group in the regular season, but kind of falling short in that first round of playoffs. You know, different arguments could be made on maybe why that happened. I think for Instinct, they had many a weeks off, and so coming back after not playing as much organized team league could have been a challenge for them. They fell 3-2 to Femboy Jellyfish, and then for the side of Hidden Leaf, they did fall down 3-0 to Coin Flip, but it was one of the closest 3-0s we will probably ever see. It was not at all a wash, and I think they're definitely going to be eager to kind of bite back, get their own little revenge. A few more seconds here before we get into game. Just waiting for spectator delay, ensuring competitive integrity is all set. And one remake later, I am ready for a fun game one. Get scoreboard all resorted. Get ourselves set up. So Comet for the Ziggs. Just pointed out by Rurikal, defer to the mid laners there. I think good pickup for him. Lets you have a bit more pressure in lane, help you get the push. And we see some level 1 movement early on. Hashira invading in the top side, and Ziggs and Don trading a bit back and forth. Personal preference, I am not a fan of the spectator mode thing. I don't quite follow the teams deeply enough to know every single player's name, and, you know, want to be shouting out names instead of champion names. I feel like that's the least I could do to give some love to very deserving players. So excuse me for a sec while I find out what Ziggs, the mid laner for Hidden Leaf, is, and just make a quick note of that. So some deep wards for both sides. They are going to be able to gather that both junglers are starting in the bot lane. Sure, alright, it's Guillaume in the mid lane. Already some early trading in the top lane. Nasus with the Ghost TP, relatively standard. Yeah, this is what you want to see out of Arctic. Kind of contesting the wave as Nasus walks up. Try to prevent those early stacks from going over. You know, get yourself a few grass procs, because you should just be able to out-damage that dog with your higher base damages. Ticking over to level 2, see him grabbing the push. Even level 2 kind of spikes in the bottom lane as well. Boomerang Blade going wide. Just some standard trading stuff. We'll get into directed camera. Let the game take over. Both junglers are full clearing up, so attention will be paid toward this top side. I think if there's a 2v2 that breaks out, I am going to favor the instinct side, especially in the top lane, but I feel like Wukong and Xin Zhao will be pretty even. It's just a matter of who answers after that. Yome and Good Boy trading back and forth a little bit, but nothing too crazy breaking out just yet. I'm not expecting a crazy volatile early game. We kind of touched on this in draft. There'll be some contention over waves, but outside of that, expecting the mid game and the junglers to really create this action. Don going a little wide on the grand entrance, but Clips able to back him up there, make it not too bad of a trade. Junglers still looking to full clear. Azir is getting the push in the mid lane. And the bot lane of Sivir Rakan, they're getting the push as well. So for now, 3 winning lanes for Instinct. See if they're able to continue to execute on that, as Wukong a bit faster on the clear. He's going to be on the Scuttle Crab first. I'm going to pan up to the top sides here, see what happens. He is spotted on a ward, but Avalon is in the area. Should be able to protect Arctic, protect his jungler. And Gyu's pretty low as well. Not quite low enough to call for the full dive, though. Don and Eclipse with that bot lane pressure, able to... Oh, excuse me, Arctic with the first blood. What am I doing here? Launching some other stuff. Imagine just a fast little Ornn combo. Yep. QWE auto. Grass proc flashing away for good measure as the Wither did connect. It's going to be first blood to Arctic. Punishing that Nasus pick early, doing exactly what he needs to. I had panned down to this bottom lane to try to pay attention to that second Scuttle play and how the teams maneuvered around that. Don and Eclipse moved up Dropped a little bit of bot lane pressure to try to gain some vision over that for Avalon. They are still going to be able to pick up most of these minions, so bot lane staying relatively even. Deborah Morgan gets a few autos in. And Akaza and Avalon, you know, they're still matching each other lane-wise in terms of where they are on the map here. Looks like Akaza's fishing in the bot lane. But Avalon's going to be a bit ahead on his clear here. Akaza not able to find that top scuttle and then not able to find that gank. Meanwhile, the Wukong farming up some camps, so he'll be a little bit ahead, and he'll maybe have an angle for a topside gank should things work out. Clip's falling a bit low on mana. Does miss the cannon. That's going to hurt a little bit. So now this Yunara starting to do a little better. I think mostly due to the... Ooh, Arctic missing the stun and the knock-up on the pillar. Just going a little bit too early there. He does have that level 6, so that's one of those abilities. If that hits, that could have been another potential solo kill. For now, just going to keep the push. Keep trying to make Gyu's life miserable here under tower. Try to deny as many minions as possible without taking too many shots. Great little Ornn clap into dash there. So yeah, Avalon pulling a bit ahead in terms of camps, and now pings towards the top side, but this Nasus should be close to level 6. Fury of the Sands up soon. The Warrior Trickster over the wall for Avalon. He is looking towards the top side. Expecting the call of the Forge God to come in soon. No, it's just going to be a knock-up. There goes the Forge God. And Arctic setting up his jungler for Instinct's second kill. Is going to give his life to do so, though. Tanking tower shots. Not going to be able to get out of that one. No flash around either. So Akaza going to pick up the rest of that wave. But Avalon getting on the map early and making stuff happen for this Instinct squad through the top lane, which I was kind of harping on for being maybe the weak side area of typical Instinct games, but this time they are strong siding this Ornn, and it's paying off so far. 2 kills coming through that top side. It's Don Don looking for an angle onto Guillaume. Ziggs just going to satchel charge himself out. Don Don trying to get a bit fancy on potential prediction there, but nothing to be found. As Eclipse trading into the Yunara. Lethal tempo stacking for both sides, but Sivir able to get better of that one with the Boomerang Blade. Dragon is up. Akaza in this top side, potentially looking for some action. Wither comes through. Ghost comes through for Q, and now Arctic is in trouble. He's going to have to try to walk his way out of this one. Slow comes through from the pillar, but Akaza with another dash forward and one more stomp. Not quite enough. Akaza, the W is dodged, and he has to flash to trade back a kill. So Arctic, all 3 kills for that first feat of warfare coming through via the top side. And now with Akaza down in the top side, Instinct turning their way towards the first dragon. Great little movement out of the top laner of Instinct there to help trade a kill back in what looked like a very dire situation. Walking into the jungler of Hashira, getting slowed down by the Nasus. So that Nasus does, you know, get another assist, gets a little bit of relief in that lane, but I think Instinct are going to be happy with that overall. Trading 1 for 1. Your Ornn not really losing too much, and crucially getting this dragon in what is bound to be kind of this late game stacking game. That's good looks for Instinct. Akaza respawned and went straight to the grubs. Wasting no time there. Instinct support jungle, trying to get on the map to maybe contest it, but it looks like they're going to be a bit late to that. Good boy. Yeah, he is dominating in the mid lane. Almost minute mark CS, so I don't think that's a knock on Guillaume at all. It's more so just how good Boy is playing this lane. Able to navigate through any Ziggs bombs. As Avalon and Don Don looking for a little bit of a fight onto Akaza. Avalon takes the portal. In comes the call of the Forge God. Gonna be missed, though, by Arctic. And now Tengen in a bit of a weird spot. No magical journey available. Is going to flash out, but Avalon's there. Does have the Cyclone with the knockup. Good boy drifts it in. Knocks him back. Tengen with the 2-man stun, but now Akaza going to fall down to Avalon. And that is going to be 2 more kills going over to Instinct. Just running the map in this top side early. A bit of an overextension from Hashira after they pick up those grubs. think looking to just play the fight a little longer. A few canceled autos from Arctic too. Ooh. Yeah, they get the grubs, but I think sticking around, maybe looking for a bit of a fight. Instinct pulling the trigger though, means they come out on top with a few more kills there. 2 of them crucially going on to Avalon. I feel like that's where you want gold as you progress into the mid game. Wukong's a great place to have it. Lets him kind of shred in these team fights that are bound to happen. You know, we see a little glimpse of one there. And both bot laners just continuing to farm it up. Good Boy had the move there on Guillaume with Prio and makes it count with the shuffle. Bit of an awkward flash out, but it all works out well for Instinct. They're up 5-2 with a 1k gold lead just 10 minutes in. Arctic going to try to cut it out. Gyu does have the Sheen, so is going to start hurting a little bit more on this Nasus. I think once that Nasus gets Triforce, this Ornn may be in a lot of trouble. Don't know how you're going to kind of keep pace in the side lane at that point. I do like the Sunfire build. Helps you keep wave pushed out, because at a certain point Nasus is just going to start running at your tower and hitting it. And Arctic already struggling in this 1v1. So Gyu with that extra little item component, going to be enough to force Arctic back. Going to recall, does have the TP. Dragon's not up for another 2 minutes, so I could see him using that TP to help continue to contest the side lane versus giving up too much and saving it for your team. So the team is doing pretty well so far. Tabby's going over. Plated steel caps, sorry for the young blood out there. For the Ornn. And Deborah going for an aggressive trade, but 2-man Grand Entrance. It's going to be enough for Eclipse to not take too much damage there. Now, bottom lane going well for this Yunara, but I don't know if it's going well enough. We'll have to see once these team fight breaks out how Deborah's kind of able to navigate it. Ornn still able to get the push for the time being. That's going to be a good look for Instinct. As the camera continues to pan up there, you know, we'll have my eyes on that lane state. Is this Nasus able to actually push in and get pressure onto the Ornn? But for now, the Ornn just trading pretty well. A level up, going for those grass procs. Does get slowed down, and in comes both ultis as Arctic. Going to get the knockup, going to get the brittle passive. Needs maybe a little more damage. Gyu looking for a little bit more as well, but pretty low on that thing. Arctic flash forward though, claps those cheeks. That's going to be another kill for the top laner of Instinct. Gyu sticking around a little longer there, just looking for one more Q onto Arctic. But the Ornn strikes first, and now Dragon up in 14, no TP on both top laners. Instinct are looking for a favorable 4v4. They already have position through some mid lane and bot lane push. Good Boy going to go back to the mid lane. Contest Guillaume around the wave a little bit. Zig's getting chunked to half. Avalon in the area. Sundered Sky versus the Eclipse. It's a great power spike for the Wukong, who's going to start up the Dragon. Yunara using some of her abilities on the wave there. And in comes Akaza looking for a fight. Eclipse forced to defensively ult out, but Deborah Morgan caught by Don Don, forced to flash out as well. In comes Avalon. Tempered Fate stalls the fight for a little bit, but Deborah's on the way out, and Akaza getting shuffled back in. Good Boy in melee range, able to finish off the first. And Instinct potentially looking for more, but they're going to call it off there. Relatively good kite back from Hashira. Some action in the river there. Don Don with a great knockup onto Deborah Morgan on the Yunara. Ziggs just not in the area at the time, only in range for the ulti. Good Boy falling a bit low. One more of those bombs could spell danger. He's going to glide out. Arctic with more trading in the top lane, and the rest of Instinct starting up the drag. But yeah, just really the Yunara there in terms of damage threat for the side of Hashira. Don Don able to find the engage with that ulti W combo onto the AD carry of Hashira. And from there, the rest of the squad able to hit enough to kill down Akaza. Don Don flashing forward, but the bomb still hits. In comes Tengen, and that's 2 back. Just like that for the side of Hashira. It's that quick. I think Don Don trying to capitalize on a Ziggs that may have been under tower, but commits a little too far. Bomb catches Azir on the way out. I think maybe a little bit hidden. And then Tengen in the area to get the stun onto Don Don and finish up the supportive instinct. So Hashira fighting back a little bit and getting some gold on the Ziggs is a great place to have it, as that is going to help you stall out the game. Such good wave clear on that little bomb Yordle. Going to let your Nasus stack up, going to let your Yunara continue to trade. Avalon's in the area here, getting chunked down by Tengen. Tengen went for the Electrocute Bloodsong build. Just looking to combat as Arctic going in with the Call of the Forge God. This one's going to connect. One-man knockup from Don Don. Tempered Fate yet again stalling the fight, but Akaza's falling low. Good boy glides on in, gets the shove back on the satchel charge, and it's going to be havoc in the Rift Herald pit. Goes to Instinct, and they're going to sweep over the fight as well. Yu able to get one back onto Don Don. He's looking for more, but good boy. Full health on this Azir. Should be able to kite him out. Yu with no mana either. One more kill going over to this Azir. He just jumped on in and sweeped up that fight perfectly. Great fight from Instinct. They able to pick up the Herald too. Avalon just sticking in the area, finding that engage. And then the rest of Instinct in great spot to follow up. This Xin Zhao is just not quite as strong early on compared to this Wukong in team fights with the Cyclone. A late ulti as well from the Xin Zhao, not really preventing much damage from coming through. And Good Boy just shredded that fight. Chunked down the Bard, chunked down the Xin Zhao, and then caught Ziggs mid-satchel charge on that Emperor's Divide. Showing up in this game one. Top side of Instinct is doing work. Don Don there to help with the engage as well. These Tempered Fates, you know, they're buying a little bit of time, but it's not enough. Tengen, you know, kind of expecting this out of both supports. Not really playing around the bottom lane. Both 80 carries, relatively even. You know, just 0-0-0. And now Good Boy has the Nashers. He's going to hurt onto that Ziggs. He can ever get soldiers in range. Expect the mid laner of Instinct to pump out some serious damage. Arctic looking to pressure this top lane. Tower. Gyu does have the Triforce though, so gonna start to heal up and be pretty comfortable in this side lane, even despite the fact that he's down, you know, 600 gold. Most of the gold lead for Instinct, you know, it is in that top side. 1k in the mid lane, 1k in the jungle, pretty much even everywhere else. Arctic, knowing he can't take these prolonged trades, just trying to get a few grass procs and get out. Chunk down the Nasus where he can. You see that Wither comes through, the Ghost comes through, but in the mid lane, another shuffle back from Good Boy. Follow up from Don Don and Avalon leads to this Azir being on a rampage. And Gyu, Fury of the Sands was popped. Ghost was popped, but Arctic able to kite out of that one. Still has his flash up as well. Don Don's in the area too, but no real play on the Nasus with just the Rakan W, no Rakan ulti. Sivir having a bit of free time in the bot lane as well, if she wants. It's 2v3 in the mid lane. The bot lane of Hashira rotated up, but going to use that time to get a recall off. Next dragon up in 30 seconds. Expecting that to be the next big punch angle for Instinct. TP advantage for Arctic. He's going to let the minions get first tower. And now Don Don looking for a trade onto Tengen. Avalon jumping in to help chunk out the Bard. Taking a look at items. 2 items on the Azir. Shadow Flame is in. 2 items on the Ornn. Instinct looking very comfortable item-wise in this team fight. Going to use the Herald to help secure pressure for the Dragon as well. Great use of the Tempered Fate is going to stall out that Rift Herald. But now it's not going to be up for the potential team fight. Ornn did roam down, but it looks like he's just going to walk his way back up. Instinct hadn't started up the drag yet. Good boy, able to comfortably keep mid lane push, and that's just going to be a third Drake less than 20 minutes in for the side of Instinct. Arctic there for good measure, able to make his way back top lane. Potential cross-map play coming out from Hashira. It's Arctic walking a bit forward, and Akaza showing face. Arctic forced to flash out. Tengen in the area as well. Don on your minimap is coming up, and with no wave for Hashira, I think they're going to have to call this one off. Just giving the Drake and not much to return other than maybe a little bit more scaling on some of their late game carries. Otacon is now up. Is Don going to be caught out, but Grand Entrance is out of a potential Bard stun. One hop gets canceled, second hop comes through. So Rakan falling to about 200 health. The bomb comes in! Don caught in the window, but Deborah Morgan caught in the bot lane. Flashes forward onto Eclipse. He's looking for more. Eclipse forced to flash out. Arctic in a 1 versus 4. Redemption comes down to try to heal him up. Hashira going to focus the tower, so that's going to be an easy second kill onto the Ornn. So Hashira bouncing back a little bit, and they are in prime position to take this Otacon. Ziggs roaming up. Looking for the angle here. 9k on the Otacon. It's 4 members, so it is going to get rushed down. The call for Instinct is to keep their carries in the bottom lane, so they're sacking this one. Avalon, too late to the play. They were in the bottom lane, punishing that Deborah Morgan Yunara overstep, but was it a punishment at all? Because the cross map from Hashira that comes through, massively in favor for them. They get 2 kills back and the Otacon. Great ulti out of the Ziggs to secure that first kill. And then after that, easy rotation, clinical rotation coming out of Hashira to secure that Ornn. Yes, he's tanky, but once you get the Ziggs up there, once you get 4 up there, it's going to be an easy kill pickup. And so now, you know, Instinct, they don't really have anything to help push the pace for another 3 minutes until that dragon spawns. It is going to be a very powerful soul for them should they get it. Cloud Soul with all those ultis could be very nice for them. But in the meantime, this Nasus is continuing to stack up. 456 stacks. No Nasus expert, but I'm pretty sure that's good pace. And now with 2 items, the Triforce and the Frozen Heart. Great call on the Frozen Heart item. We talked about the Wither value. Ooh, Don caught out yet again. Gonna Grand Entrance out on top. But Akaza picking up that kill. Don basing on the ward. And the rest of Hashira playing around it very nicely. Tengen just kind of roaming on by, making him think he was safe. But now that's Don caught out 2 times in a row here. And forced out. Because we do have an ad, so I'm gonna pause it real quick, let the stream catch up. And then we'll get back into the action. Take this time to go to the bathroom. Hmm. All right, a little more ads. Kind of let that play itself out. Skin, unfortunately, don't have control over it, but what can you do? Sit and wait. Don't want to miss any of this action because potential top lane play is big here. All right, we should be back, so gonna resume. Thank you all for sticking around. Hashira looking to overload the top side here with Gyu. Good boy. Not quite caught by the stun. And Avalon's in the area. Shuffle back onto Tengen. Going to be another kill for the Wukong. Eclipse giving chase with the Sivir ulti. But Deborah Morgan's in the area, so Avalon's in a bit deep. Good boy trying to help out his jungler. Avalon forced to flash out. TP's come on through from both side laners. And in comes Donbon. Two-man flash grand entrance. Followed by the rest of Instinct. They pounce, and Akaza's forced to retreat. Low health bar, but a flash forward from Good Boy is going to be enough to finish that one out. Gyu caught under the tower as well. Eclipse giving chase. A few more autos will do it. They're just trying to close the gap. Nasus limping on out of there. As you watch the rest of Hashira fall. Great engage out of Don on the respawn. And it's going to be another kill from Avalon. Good Boy with the shuffle onto the Bard, able to get a kill. Speaking of Good Boy, he's looking onto this Ziggs, who is forced to flash out. Good Boy, an absolute menace on the Zir, up to 10 Magi stacks. Gets the shuffle onto the Bard to start it out. And that lets Ziggs go for the go button. And after that, it was just wraps. Don finding the engage. And the rest of Instinct ready to follow up. Ornn TPing in with the Call of the Forge God. Eclipse with the Sivir ult forward. And now 40 seconds to Drake. Instinct find themselves up 6,000 gold. In a very nice spot to take the soul and potentially the game. Akaza going to be knocked up by Arctic, but there's not going to be any more angle there. Yeah, Ziggs was in the bottom lane that entire time. And Deborah was in the mid lane as well, so the only real angle you were playing through was the Nasus, who doesn't quite have the pressure, you know, to go through the Azir. And now we're going to find ourselves in a bit of a 5v5. Nasus TPing down to the bottom lane. A little bit of poke coming through, but it's going to have to land a lot harder for Hashira to feel comfortable in this fight. Ulti's up for all sides as Avalon's starting the dragon up. Eclipse pops the Sivir ulti, and Instincts say go. The Tempered Fate only lands onto Akaza, and the rest of Hashira are going to be knocked up by Arctic. In comes the collapse from Instinct, a Cyclone just onto one, but Eclipse is free hitting this entire time. Triple kill over to the Sivir. Arctic with another knockup. Eclipse looking for more as Gyu's forced down. Eclipse into melee range of the Nasus. That's not going to do it. And Ziggs finding some space to hit here, but Good Boy glides in, finds yet another shuffle, knocks him into Avalon. Gyu this entire time, though, dropping down the cane. It's not going to be enough, though. As Instinct find themselves the ace and find themselves the soul. Hectic team fight. But just those easier to execute ultis coming through from the side of Instinct. You can take a look back. Instinct yet again, you know, first ones to pull the trigger here. It's Don and the Sivir. In comes the ulti, in comes the Ornn ulti. Ghost pop from Don. And this Bard ulti only hits one. Eclipse was able to spell shield it. So 3-man knockup with both Ornn and Rakan at pretty much the same time. The one thing that keeps Hashira in it is that this Nasus is able to free hit pretty much the entire time as Eclipse gives chase to Akaza. So does Good Boy. So Arctic is in this backline, you know, relatively isolated here. And Eclipse charging forward way too aggressively. Don getting caught by a few more Ziggs bombs as well. Great shuffle yet again from Good Boy. Finds the Ziggs. The only real damage threat left. And then from that point, 8-1 on this Azir. Death Cap incoming. 18 stacks on the Medjais. This Azir is able to shred. And now with Cloud Soul for Instinct, you got to think these team fights are going to start looking even better for them. They've been able to outmaneuver the Hashira in most of these team fights. See Good Boy, 3 levels up on Akaza, chunking him out. Baron up as well. Call of the Forge God comes through, and they are giving crazy chase. Deborah Morgan finds the Blast Cone out, and a Tempered Fate was used as well. So a few ultis down from Instinct, but they have so much pressure around this Baron area. Expect them to just be able to see that and grab it. Arctic buying space, not going to be too scared of Deborah Morgan on that Yunara. So Baron over to Instinct, very comfortable for them. Don't even need a few picks and kills to secure it. Arctic going to TP in the bottom lane to help keep the Nasus on track. This Nasus is at 540 stacks, so really hasn't stacked up much since last time we checked. I've just been on those team fights and, making a big impact in those team fights, but looking at the game state now, the way team fights are going, going to need a lot more out of that dog in the top lane, in the side lane, to keep them in it. But they do have good wave clear, the Hashira. 3 items on the Ziggs with Death Cap. Yunara, relatively okay at wave clear, so we'll see what the call is for Instinct in terms of this incoming siege. Right now, setting themselves up with a bit of a 1-3-1. I like that call. I feel like you have enough disengage with Cloud Soul, funnily enough, to keep yourself safe if Hashira try to pounce with their limited engage tools. And then this way you kind of spread out the Ziggs and don't let him wave clear too easily. In this case, he's forced to match the Azir, but Good Boy around the corner. He finds himself in the bush. Avalon goes in. 2-man Cyclone into a 2-man Rakan knockup. Good Boy there for good measure with a shuffle. 2 kills over to the Azir. 1 kill over to, believe, the Wukong. And Instinct say go. They want to end this game 1. Baron buff still up for another minute 20. All members of Instinct up. It looks like they're calling a little bit of a split here. Going for the bottom lane as well. Just ushering themselves in for more gold. But that is going to be quite the influx for themselves. You can see this Ziggs wave clear on display. Backed up by kind of the solid front line of the Nasus. So they're able to keep the inhib alive. But Good Boy in this bot lane, looking to chunk down the inhib tower. Tempered Fate onto the tower, but it's late again. And this gives space for Eclipse to walk up and hit the inhib a bit. So Instinct, they don't secure any inhibs. They do get another phenomenal fight for themselves. And set themselves up well. Come a next potential successful team fight. In terms of marching this one into a potential end. A lot of potentials there. And for Hashira, potentially still in it. You still have this Ziggs, Yunara, and this Nasus, more importantly. So if you can get on top of this 25 Medjay stack Azir, maybe there's an angle, maybe a Miracle Tempered Fate, but Instinct, if they watch their positioning, got to imagine they have this one in the books for themselves. You can see them establishing vision over the top side. Just going to march it in. Ziggs walking up, but no one else around him. And Good Boy and Don Don, they are looking to pick off this Yordle yet again. Sivir ulti going to be popped just for good measure. A little bit of style in with that Super Mega Inferno Bomb and Satchel Charge, but it's going to do nothing but clear a few minions. So another kill over to the Ziggs. Elder Dragon up in a minute 11. Don't know if Instinct are going to have enough pressure to end before then, so things may hold off till we get to that big dragon fight. And that is where Hashira are going to kind of have to pull the trigger, draw the line in the sand. Just throw your face there. Maybe a miracle happens. But you're down over 12k gold now. Instinct just picking up objective after objective. There's Hashira, they had the 3 grubs. One tower and an Otacon. Doesn't look like that'll be anywhere near enough for this game one. Nasus still farming up. They're up to almost 700 stacks now, so that's something. But just not able to get enough side lane pressure with the rest of the team so far ahead for Instinct. Able to just walk themselves into the inhib without the Nasus there. Knock down those two inhibs. Elder up in 8. They're turning their eyes towards that. Hashira, we're going to have a tough time walking into pressure. Oh my gosh, good boy. Just a few autos with that Sand Soldier forces Akaza back. And so that's going to be an easy Elder Drake secure. Ziggs not able to get in the area for potential Mega Inferno Bomb. Don able to peel away. Good boy, you got to think. A shuffle comes on through, building space. Temper Fade onto 2 from Tengen. The stun is going to connect onto the Zir, but the Orin Horn coming through catches him through the flash. And now Instinct, it is all but a formality. A flash forward out of Don to force the Ziggs out. Eclipse marching on in with the Sivir ulti. And Instinct, good boy, with a flash just to pick up one more. Avalon flashing forward as well with the Cyclone. Instinct want blood, but they'll have to settle for the Nexus. Game 1, 28-11. Instinct, through dominant topside fashion, take a convincing game 1. All right, maybe have CLT join me here. Yeah, looks like I will have a friend, in fact. There he is.
Yo, what up?
Caster of the Year. What an honor.
Oh,
Let
I
me,
don't that, but ooh, look at you already.
Yep, so we are in draft for game 2 already. I think with the pauses that I had for the ads kind of let us have a really quick turnaround. So Hashira taking blue this time. Similar bans coming through from both sides. This time Instinct leaving the Jarvan open and taking it themselves. But that's going to be a Jarvan into a Xayah Poppy Ari. So I don't know how much of a good time Avalon's going to have there. And looks like Instinct going to lock in carries of their own. Corki and see what Good Boy decides to go for. Going to be a Syndra. Got thoughts on this round 1 of draft?
I think both teams are looking like they're drafting a specific style. Like outside of the Ari, Hashira really loves a team comp that comes into them, and Instinct showcasing the Jarvan already. It's hard to pivot out of like that kind of jungler. Like unless you're very skillful with the Jarvan, he's mainly just an engage bot.
Yeah, you're kind of screaming dive, but it's just dive into a Xayah and a Poppy. Eesh. That's going to be a tough one to play out. So I think good call on your end with Hashira wanting this comp that goes into them, and these are great champions that kind of want that to happen for them. Round 2 of bans. Narband coming through for Instinct. Trying to get Gyu off of another comfort pick as well as the Ambessa. So it tells me Arctic is maybe leaning towards another tank option. See what Instinct ends up picking. Hashira have a few flex picks available for themselves. That Poppy, not too sure where it's going yet. I like when you're into Jarvan, having the Poppy in the jungle, I think is kind of comfortable, but we tend to see that, I feel like, the most in the support role lately.
I think the rail band kind of stands out. Like you've already got a team comp that can absorb a lot of the first punches you can throw. So rail being another one that's good at throwing the first punch. I think leaving that up would have been perfectly okay.
Yeah, I'm I'm in agreement. I think you're okay with it. Yes, that's a Don Don Comfort champ, but stuff like the Braum ban, that's a little better. Maybe it's a ban for lane, but then with Don Don locking in the Nico anyway, it's going to be a tough lane for Hashira, no matter what they pick. Nico
Don
Corki,
Don
that double
seems,
range is going to be nice.
yeah, Don Don really is enjoying this Nico. I think he played it the last series in the playoffs as well here.
Mhm.
This is an okay. I don't know how I feel about this one.
Really? I mean, it's
Yeah.
classic combo.
That's true, Vi Ari, but the rest of your team comp's not that proactive. I mean, Poppy maybe with the hammer, with the ult, can send somebody away, but
That's fair enough. And a Mordekaiser blind coming through.
mm, is this not
Good for you.
Scream Mundo right here?
I think it screams Mundo. If you want to give yourself more side lane, I know Yorick's a comfort pick for Arctic. I feel like that matchup wouldn't be too bad. Um, we'll have to see what the top laner of Instinct goes for. I don't know. Back to the Vi point. I think I get it with it not matching up with maybe the rest of your draft, but the last four Hashira games I've watched, they have not been able to take the fights that they want. It really feels like that in the vast majority of cases where they're the ones getting engaged on first. And I think a good way to change that and stifle that is by just blocking one of the biggest 1-2 punches in all of League in Vi and Ari. You just pick a target and you go. And especially into Instinct, we saw it in Game 1, what Avalon and Don Don were able to do, and what they're probably going to do in this game too. I think it's crucial that you have easy engage tools of your own to fight back early on and be the ones to pull the trigger.
Yeah, I mean, I understand, and I've seen a lot of the Vi Ari, especially if Erika's still around in the chat. I know that's a combo. This whole year, he's enjoyed busting out with Terrace, but I like instead of the Vi here, just because of how committal she is into Nico, Syndra, Corki. Like I would have loved to see more of like a Pantheon and just kind of redo the Talia Pantheon kind of combo just with Ari Pantheon because it still works the very similar way. And I think Pantheon allows Akuza to respond more around the map instead of people like working around his pressure.
I will say the Pantheon was banned, so
Oh,
that's a little
okay.
something.
All right, just got here. So, but yeah, I mean, I think that's next best case if you want to try and be proactive from your mid jungle here. I think Guillaume's slowly learning how to integrate a lot of different mages and playmakers into his champ pool. I know last year playing against him, he played a lot of the like Yone. He's also pretty talented on the Yasuo. We've seen him bring out Fizz, but we've seen him pivot quite a bit to Rise in that regard. So Akali was another one we've seen him perform well. So I could see this Ari being kind of in his wheelhouse and pairing really well with Vi.
Yeah, I think it's maybe not necessarily the best pick for the situation, but based off the points you made, but I think it's a comfortable pick for Akaza, and just giving you, something my team always likes with Vi is it's just such a clear, easy engage that you're always going to have something to fall back on in team fights. It's something to play through. So that's ultimately why I like it. But appreciate your thoughts on that matter. I kind of want to look at lanes now, as it is confirmed Poppy Zaya in the bottom lane versus Nico Corki. I think that's going to be a very comfortable bot lane for Instinct. You have double range into Poppy. Poppy's not really blocking any engaged dashes other than the Corki Valkyrie, which, yes, Eclipse is aggressive, but if he plays it smart, should be fine. And I really think Instinct can jump out to a good lead in the bottom lane, which is not necessarily something we saw in game one, but I think will be a good look for them in game two, especially as things transition to the mid game.
Yeah, I agree. I think Ari and the Syndra doesn't mind it. Ari's known to like push in and roam, so there's a lot of pressure on the Jarvan and even the Aatrox to some degree. But Syndra's okay with just scaling in that matchup. Uh, Syndra, though, if she does follow roams, has to be very wary of the Vi Ari catching her out in the river. Um, I can you a little more in depth on this bot lane? I still don't see Nico enough to know how good she is as a support outside of the engages.
I think she's better as a support than the mid laner. Um,
Ooh, okay.
I will say that. The engages are another matter altogether. We can touch on that. It's just the strongest engage in the whole game. It still looks flashy, but I think with Nico, you are pretty much always hitting a minimum of 3 people with a Flash Protobelt Pop Blossom. It's just so wide, you're usually able to get that. But in lane, it's a very comfortable lane, especially into melee and low range, such as Zaya Poppy. Because you have so much range with just your auto attacks and your abilities, kind of thinking about, I'm sure you're familiar with Nico mid lane. You play through wave clear. You can
Yeah.
just pop in and out of bush, get prio. It kind of operates similar to Karma, where you can just use your abilities to poke them down. There's a few different styles. Some people go electrocute, some people go comet. I like the comet to get poke for lane, but electrocute gives you some really solid all-in pressure if a root ever connects. And those roots are really deadly because you can snake them through the minions, and with that, find snares, find roots, and it's a long route if you can connect it. So it's a skill matchup for sure, but someone like Don Don's going to be comfortable with that, and I think navigate it pretty comfortably, pretty much to never get stunned by a Poppy. And if you're not getting engaged on as a Nico, then you're going to be able to just feast and continue to poke out that lane.
Hmm. Interesting for sure. Let me run the 3-minute ads
Yeah.
so they don't pop up in game. And actually, I will be right back
Sure.
during these ads.
All right. That was a quick ad. Like, hopefully that doesn't come back to bite us. But yeah, looking maybe at a hole with these comps. In the mid lane, I expect Good Boy to comfortably get a lead again over Guillaume. That's something we saw in the Ziggs-Zir matchup, which, according to a few more resident experts in the chat, is more Ziggs favored. And this Zir was still able to build up like a 20 CS lead in what I essentially viewed as an isolated 1v1. This time, Good Boy has the counter pick, Syndra into Ahri. Maybe at a bit of threat if Vi ever finds an angle and Akaza is able to punish, that immobile mage. But really got to think that Syndra is going to be able to feast pretty comfortably in lane and help transition that to leads elsewhere. I feel like Instinct is just looking at another similar situation where they have three, what I view as three comfortable lanes. Maybe a little less so in top lane. Top lane's a bit more even this game, but three comfortable lanes, and then just what we saw in game one with how they were able to select team fights in terms of skirmishing together, I think is going to be a good look for them. It's just a matter of if Hashira are able to kind of flip that script, flip the narrative. It's going to happen, I believe, through Akaza and Guillaume. Finding the seasoned assists, spirit rushes into the backline, because it is, a squishy backline for Instinct. This Corki, this Syndra. If you can get on top of them and burst them up, that's going to look great. Meanwhile, Xayah keeps herself alive through a potential dive from Jarvan and Nico. And Poppy just tries to peel to help that happen. I feel like Hashira, they are going to be playing, a few people are saying, maybe some very segmented fights come later on, but I think that's honestly not against their favor. Mordekaiser with an ulti, he can sometimes nullify a Nico engage, nullify a Jarvan engage, buy some time, let Xayah and Ahri hit, and then Vi and Ahri can dive in, and Xayah and Poppy are comfortable being left on their own. So I think a lot of it, yet again, is going to come down to hands, to skill, which is exactly the type of games you like to see. As much as fun of the draft kind of charade is, a little mini game within the game. Love seeing two teams with, on paper, relatively even setups. And so it will just come down to more execution of it. So we will get zoomed out, pull up the scoreboard, pull up objective timers, hide the timeline control, and see what these teams are cooking for their level 1. Taking a look at runes. Don Don did go for the Comet. I think good call here. You're playing the poke style. Do have the heal to help keep Eclipse alive through any potential Poppy all in. I don't think I'm a fan of the Hail of Blades Poppy. I think it's going to be really tough for you to get on top of Eclipse and Don Don, which is where the Hail of Blades value really comes in for a melee character. And then with that, you take away any potential tankiness that you would have with Aftershock, any survivability you would have with Guardian, or just creativity that you would have with an unsealed spellbook. We will see how it plays out, though. Going for the Ignite, too. You are just throwing down the gauntlet, really trying to get ahead early. So we'll see what they're able to do with that. Bot lane of Hashira trying to get position into the bush here. Let them play, through this aggressive setup they've taken with the Hail of Blades and Ignite. Don Don within a very passive ward to protect his jungler's blue buff. Just making sure that stays alive. And yeah, they're going to be walking in a little later here. I don't think it'll matter too much. Nico and Corki should be able to get that prio back. You see Tengen, he started Q, so already taking a little bit of poke. They may, lose the level 2 spike, but unless Poppy finds maybe a flash stun, there could be an angle for that. Let's see. Can't see if she brought Hex Flash, but doesn't look like it. Maybe not going to be willing to pull the trigger with Flash. Gyu with a trade in the top lane. Welcome back.
Yeah, really nice one.
And Gyu doing that on 136 ping. How about that?
I just caught that, yeah. Resolve brought by Ahri. I just caught that.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess just seeding over a bit of the lane. I don't think that's the move. I feel like Ahri doesn't have too much damage to begin with. You want to maximize what you can from the runes. Don Don taking a bit of a chunk, but nothing too crazy in this early game. Both junglers. Oh. Okay, we did have a DC. Bummer.
Yeah, that's a bone plating overgrowth out of Ahri with Taste of Blood. Okay, so trying to be the tankiest Ahri ever seen here in lane.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if Ari doesn't go Roa anymore, right?
Uh, I mean, in certain games she still can, but generally no. I've seen either Malignance or actually just any of the Lost Chapter items. Because
Okay.
Blackfire Torch is still pretty popular. Maybe Rika can chime in a touch more, as I'm not a great big RE player. I have played her in the past, but
Hmm.
I feel like though, yeah, if you're playing Electrocute with Bone Plating, I'm pressing W and I'm psychoing at the Syndra
Yeah.
to just kind of get him out of lane.
Hmm. We'll see if
Because
she's able to do that.
you're on a timer right now. Good boy brought celerity. Okay.
Hmm. First strike as
Huh.
well.
The first strike's, I mean, I can, it's quite common. Yeah, 'cause Phase Rush really doesn't do anything here, so first strike or Electrocute was okay. I just normally see Mana Flow, but I guess Good Boy feels really good about his mana pool, that he doesn't need that, and Celerity is way more useful.
Hmm. Yep. So there's the unpause. We'll probably have another pause as we catch
Yeah.
up spectator-wise. Both junglers, I want to point out, are full clearing down. So it's happened in game one where Avalon and Akaza kind of met in the top lane, and Akaza had to give up the first scuttle due to a slightly slower clear. I think this time making
There's.
okay pace, and this time looks like has Prio in the bottom lane through Debra and Tengen to probably play around that scuttle. Gonna manually pan down bottom lane. Blue buff over to Avalon, Krugs over to Akaza. Tengen is in the river, but Scuttle gonna spawn right in front of Avalon with the smite. He's gonna be able to secure that one. And Akaza spotted over the wards. Yet again, just another tiny little advantage for Avalon off of that first clear through. And Akaza gonna be forced to recall on a ward too. So double Scuttle for Avalon. Top lane going pretty well for Gyu this game. Arctic on the counter pick Aatrox finds himself down almost 10 CS very early on here. Ping's coming down for the top side. No wards from Gyu means Avalon may be able to punish this Mordekaiser. Root in the bot lane in the meantime as well. Some aggressive trading, but flag and drag
Oh!
not really going to connect. Camera was in the bot lane,
Ar-
had to manually bring it up. So Aatrox forced to flash, moored with a trade of flashes, but Instinct coming out with first blood.
Akuza's, though, appeared in his top river brush.
Yeah, this is going to be a great 2v2 for the side of Hashira. Arctic is too low, and Avalon recognizes it. He's just going to run on out. It's going to be an easy kill over to Gyu. He's going to be able to pick up this wave, too. Arctic going to be forced to TP back, so Hashira answering right back. Debra looking for a bit of a trade. This is, I guess, kind of my point with the Nico Corki lane is you play with the range so easily into something like Poppy. And this Poppy is not nearly strong enough to just E forward as is and try to trade like that, even with the Halo Blades. So as a result, Debra just continuing to get poked out, and we'll see the bottom lane of Eclipse and Don Don. Expect them to build up a CS lead of their own. Hopefully stave off what has been an advantage in the top lane for Hashira. Avalon getting ahead again with another invade. Similar story to game one. You know, Akaza has been running early games all split long, but we look at it here and Jarvan, you know, picking up that double scuttle, picking up the Raptors, just using the prio from his lanes very well. And these are nice leads to have because it's going to be in a comfortable, probably level 6 power spike, quicker than the Vi, which matters a lot when you look at Jarvan into Vi. Yeah, I'm with you, Rurika. I mean, you just got to send it, but I don't know if he went Hex Flash. If you're going Hail of Blades, you shouldn't be playing this
He did.
cowardly. He did go Hex Flash? Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
Cosmic Insight and Hex
and
Slash.
even more so than, just try to send it. I think, your next window is maybe here where you're pretty much even on health. Both teams backed for, a few components. Gyu going in with a trade. Does have the Mordekaiser passive. Just going to be comfortable, though. Get in the wave push. Oh, Arctic with an ulti, though, and he finds the sword through the heart of Mordekaiser. Tengen going in, getting caught by the root. And now Avalon in the area. Goes for the ulti, but Deborah trading it back. Eclipse falling low. Forced to barrier, forced to flash out. Deborah giving chase. Gets one back in the 2 versus 3. And now Avalon, no ulti. Doesn't have any angle to follow up. My eyes were on the Poppy that entire time, but Deborah was trading back tons of damage onto the Corki. So all summoners down for the bottom lane of Hashira as Ari's jumping in for a good chunk of trade here. Spirit Rush forward. Good Boy's going to be in a bit of trouble. Last Spirit Rush is going to be used. W goes forward. Good Boy forced to flash out.
Yeah, W was 1 second, I think, off cooldown.
Oof.
For Ari there.
Oh my goodness. Good Boy sticking around too. Doesn't want to give up this cannon wave. And Avalon's in the area. Ari gonna flash out, but I think this Jarvan's gonna be able to give chase. No, calls it off. Hex Flash comes on through onto Eclipse. And W for good measure. Bit of bush cheese from the bot lane of Hashira. Same thing with the jungler of Hashira as Akaza gonna find the mark. Pops the ulti and kills all over. But Akaza coming out way on top.
Yeah, this is I think Hashira's kind of feeling it here. They got some momentum back in their favor now in this game. It all started with Guillaume in the mid lane, forcing Good Boy to burn some summoners.
Yeah, I mean, Arctic was able to get a kill back in the top lane. That was a solo kill. A nice job there. But in the bot lane, 3v2 gank turned around, really punishing the members of Instinct. Avalon with the ulti onto Tengen rather than Deborah. Maybe hurting. It's Good Boy going to be pounced on by the Poppy.
Nice E.
Does have the Hex Flash to help contest that. Nico in the area. So trade of 3 Grubs, excuse me. And first Dragon. Over to Instinct. Do you have any thoughts on that kind of split of objectives there for both sides?
I mean, I think Grubs are going to be useful here for the side of Hashira. They have a decent amount of wave clear, but overall, when I look at Grubs, I think of the wave clear going against that, and there's not much wave clear built into Instinct's comp. So it is a little bit of a win more. Oh, Gyu and Arctic going at it.
On the top side, Arctic forced to pop the World Ender. He's going to trade a bit of damage back, and Gyu is forced to flash out, but a flash forward from Arctic finds the Q3. The sweet spot knock-up and another sword through that Mordekaiser. Top lane this series is running through Arctic. Counterpick Aatrox finding second solo kill of the game.
Damn. Okay. So Aatrox not something we see that often to split, but Arctic's still having it in the bag here.
Yeah. Ooh.
Oh, the Nico.
Sussed out, but Don popping the ulti.
All
I think
right.
scared of the Vi ulti coming on in. That would have been the only way to peel that off. With Eclipse having already jumped away, and now Akaza still jumping in for more. Don and Eclipse trying to keep Akaza interested.
Oh, look at this Chad first item from the Aatrox here, Spear of Shojin.
Nice. I mean, it's working out well. You can see him trading yet
my
again.
Lord, yeah.
Mordekaiser does have the Death Realm available. Pops it there. Is going to trade back aggressively on Arctic, but it's not going to be enough. So now no Mordekaiser ult available as Tengen jumps on in, looking for a bit of a trade. They have forced this bottom lane away from the tower. They're giving up quite a lot. Good Boy has TP available. That's the only real way they're going to be able to get bailed out of that with Avalon on the top side. But until then, Instinct bot lane is just left out to dry. Akaza camping the heck out of them. And that's going to be big plate gold over to Deborah Morgan.
This is something we haven't seen out of Hashira, the last few playoff games here is like actually playing through bot lane, making sure they're stabilized and even ahead, and then letting the rest of the game come to you. So this is going to be very interesting to watch how these next few minutes progress.
Yeah, I mean, that's maybe full tower with the 3 grubs. So, I was initially going to say I prefer Dragon, but those 3 grubs coming in handy there. And Akaza, love how he played that one, sticking around, sacking a few camps, but making it well worth his time as they're looping around into the bush yet again. Don't think they're going to find anything this time. And not expecting too much more action, but we'll see what develops as we crest over into the mid game. Deborah Morgan, 105 CS, almost 5k gold, by far the strongest member in this game. Onus is on the 80 carry of Hashira, which I think is a good new look for them compared to the playoff stuff we've seen so far.
Yeah, we actually see that the full feats of strength goes over to Hashira this game here.
Always nice to have. Oh, hey, Sam Ladd's in the chat. What an attention whore. Trying to catch the game here.
I was not ready to hear that. Oh, man. Okay. I see the Luden's companion coming out of Good Boy, so trying to one-shot here.
You a fan of that compared to other potential items?
Um,
Blackfire?
I mean, I think in this game, the difference is negligible between the two.
Ulti popped by Ahri, and Avalon's in the area as well, so 2v1 for the side of the Instinct mid jungle. They're just going to chase down this Ahri. Knockup comes on through, Unleashed Wrath comes on through, and that is an easy kill for Good Boy. Finds himself with his first kill on the board, and he's also up 20 CS yet again in this game too.
Yeah, this is more of the Good Boy we've seen this whole calendar year, where he's always going to find ways of just getting CS, being almost 10 a minute, if not above that, and just keep himself really relevant when it comes to these mid-game spikes plays. So, went the sword shoes as well. Yeah, he's going full, like, one-shot. Double book. Okay, there's a Hex Tech alternator, so this is Shadow Flame second. And Ahri not sitting on tier 2 boots at all here.
Dragon is up. Avalon finds the knockup. Don going to be able to catch 2 with his Pop Blossom as well. Instinct pulling the trigger instantly, and Dragon is going to be the reward. A great engage out of the Jarvan with a little bit of bush gameplay of his own. Ooh, trade in the top lane as well. Arctic popping the World Ender. Gyu falling pretty low as Conqueror fully stacks, and he has to Death Realm, but it's a bit late. So Arctic once again getting the better of his counterpart in that isolated 1v1 trade. And now still full health on this Aatrox. He's going to be able to walk up to tower relatively comfortably. Keep trying to force Gyu back. Ooh, but Arctic has to flash out of that pull back. So item spikes starting to come through for some of the carries on both sides. We pointed out the Ludens earlier. Malignance for the Ahri doesn't mean too much. Triforce just bought for the Corki. That's going to be huge for the Instinct bot laner in any fight that comes around his area. It looks like Rift Herald going to be an easy pickup for Hashira, with Instinct's jungler on the bot side of the map, potentially looking to punish this Ahri yet again.
Ahri does have ult flash up, so... Oh, but he's Arctic TPing after the Rift Herald got taken.
Yeah, I think he's going to be able to get out of this one for now. We'll see what the call is in terms of overload and the rest of it. Ahri just going to ulti out. Avalon a little late on the EQ flash combo. Means Ahri walks safely out of that one. They're going to try to pressure the tower. First tower is already down, so they're not really racing for anything here. But with the Rift Herald, Hashira are going to be first to the line. And Eclipse and Deborah still chilling in the mid lane respectively. I think Good Boy is going to keep trying to push this advantage in the side lane. Now no ulti on the Ahri means he's going to be able to walk up and do just this. Flashing forward
Oh, wait a
is the
second.
Ahri. Good Boy forced to flash out. Well played from the Ahri, dodging out on some damage there. One-man ulti onto the Poppy, who gets another trade ulti back. But in the meantime, Arctic yet another kill onto Mordekaiser. 4 kills on this Aatrox. Ending Gyu Tomioka's world. That Spear of Shojin Spike still doing work. And so Instinct respond back with a few kills. A bit of spice in the bot lane between the mid laners. Doesn't quite mean anything, but in the top side, an overstay from Hashira gets punished by Instinct.
Yeah, Deborah didn't rotate up there with that Rift Shroud play, which actually let him get a little bit of damage on his mid turret, but still did not. It has not fallen yet. This mid turret needs to go down for Hashira to regain a little more control of this map.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same. I mean, you're not really winning any side lanes right now. Aatrox now 4-1, 2 items versus, 1 item and 2 ruby crystals from Mordekaiser. And then we saw a bit of the power that Syndra has over Ahri. Ahri just barely able to get out of that one. A great use of the flash to dodge out on the Syndra W and then hit the charm, forcing Good Boy to flash out. But one more ability connects there, and that's a kill in the bot lane as well. So side lane's going well, or Instinct means you have to answer somewhere else. And it looks like that's going to be Deborah, 2 items on the Xayah. But they need to enable her more somehow, find some angles on some potentially overextending Instinct members. It's just going to be a tall task to do so.
Yeah, for sure. Corki, though, still a little behind. Hasn't really started on the Manamune yet. About 3/4 of the way there on the tier charges. You? Okay. Alright, it's a race to see who gets anti-healing first up top.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Akaza finding the angle onto Eclipse. Great combo, followed by a root from Deborah, forcing the flash out of the Corki. So great pounce from Akaza. Great chain CC, but they're not able to find the whole mark as Ahri was spirit rushing forward. So keep an eye on that flashless Corki come Dragon, as that could be Hashira's chance back in.
Oh.
Deborah Morgan forced to ulti as well. Tengen doesn't find the stun on a Good Boy, who is trying to maneuver around Akaza. In comes Avalon, and in comes Arctic with the World Ender, but he can't quite close the gap. Mordekaiser TPing in. The rest of Instinct's trying to give chase. Don Don is a minion. Keep your eyes on the Don Don. 3-man, 4-man Pop Blossom forces the rest of Hashira out. Gyu brings him into the Death Realm, but the only thing that's going to be waiting for him is the rest of Instinct. Gets the kill back, but the rest of Instinct able to it's just going to be a 1-for-1 at the end of all that. 2-for-1 if you count Syndra's kill. Dragon is up, though. So many cooldowns down for both sides. Don Don coming in with the rest of Instinct to help keep that play alive.
They had a ward there to see that Akuza backed. So
that's going to be crucial. I don't know if they're going to be rush it down in time. Tengen doesn't have the ulti available. They got to try to pull the trigger for the fight here. They are going to have the numbers on the onset of the fight. Akaza over the wall. In comes the Vault Breaker. Doesn't get the smite. Oh. Avalon secures it. So sole point for Instinct. Hashira turning towards the mid lane. Going to try to get something back. As Akaza gets himself stunned up. In comes Arctic with the follow-up. Vault Breaker gets pulled back. And Good Boy finds the second kill of the game. Deborah was sitting in the bush trying to get something back, but nothing to be found. And now Otacon is up and Jungler is down. They're going to start this next major objective up, and it should be theirs for the taking.
Now, one thing to note, Otacon's 0% win rate in this series so far.
That is one thing to note. There's a blue buff clearing wards up there. That's a little peculiar.
Yeah.
Ooh, Flash Pop Blossom ulti comes through from Donbon, forces the Featherstorm out, and Eclipse is going to be able to get that kill back. Valkyring forward, forcing the flash out of Tengen as well. We talked about how easy that Nico engage is to pull off. Just going invisible, getting that movement speed boost, getting the knockups, and then the stun onto Xayah. And now, you're one lead for Hashira. Yes, it's still up like 800 gold, but item spike wise, it's going to be relatively even with Eclipse's quirky. And this game is just looking better and better for Instinct as they keep finding these angles.
Yeah, and you're starting to see the CS lead, especially here in the mid lane, grow. And we're seeing Syndra. Let me see, how many splinters does she have? She's going to be max splinters here pretty soon. Probably in time for the next objective fight.
Yeah, Tengen's a bit caught out. He has no flash from earlier, and the root connects. Keeper's verdict doesn't come through in time, but Akaza is still looking for the fight. Ari with the spirit rush forward. Guillaume goes wide on the charm. A flash stun onto the Ari, barely catches. Arctic coming in with the world ender, forcing Ari to flash back. And so nothing but tons of space built for Instinct on top of the one kill onto the enemy support. Probably looking for more as those TPs came on in, but not going to quite find it. Still a crucial kill for them, and Mordekaiser not going to be able to get anything back on the side lane in the meantime.
Yeah, it looks like we're seeing Mordekaiser go with the experimental here, but
nice movement out of Arctic. Just going to walk away out of that one. A little bit chunked, but nothing of much consequence. Going to be able to heal back up okay through the minions. And so Dragon and Baron up in a little over 2 minutes. That's kind of my next angle for both of these teams. Maybe pull the trigger. I think gold is still close enough where whichever team gets the more valuable first pounce is going to be favored in this coming team fight. We'll see if Hashira are able to find that angle for themselves. It's been a struggle all evening long, but a great setup here in the bush. Popping over the blast cone. Avalon finding himself in a bit of trouble. Is 3 levels up onto Akaza, though. So flag and drag out will be enough. Good boy with a TP out to keep himself safe. Arctic, maybe struggling a bit in this bottom side. Healing up. World Ender comes on through. Gyu sitting under tower. Arctic gets forced to flash out, but Gyu is still under tower playing it. World Ender gets popped off cooldown, and the heals come through. There's no anti-heal there for the side of Mordekaiser, and he falls down yet again. Arctic just finding Gyu's number again and again.
Yeah, Arctic is just playing this Aatrox really, really well. Gyu, though, I believe, was sitting on some gold, because after that death immediately had second item. And yeah, I mean, I see the theory of like how Mordekaiser can play this matchup and win even when behind a little bit here, but I gotta see Grievous Wounds coming out now, because it's just, you're losing these fights so closely.
Yeah, I mean, that healing really is the difference. It gets maybe a little awkward to build early, but now that you have your 2-item spike of the Voidmaker Hexplate, just getting that Grievous should be good. It has a lot of other value into the Jarvan. It's going to be decent into that as well. But now Dragon in 30, Hashira, they're going to be forced to fight for this Infernal Soul. They don't want to give it up, but it's going to be an uphill battle to do so as Instinct are reclaiming area in the river. Ward's getting dropped down. Eyes are on Don Don. Has the flash up. That's usually the go button for Instinct. Avalon with flash up as well. Ari with no flash. Deborah Morgan with flashes up. Both teams taking their position as Dragon spawns. Bit of a trade back as Gyu walks forward. Gets a little bit chunked out early. He gets pulled back. And a great ulti from Tengen. Forces Eclipse back. And so now it's a 4 versus 5. Gyu brings Avalon into the Death Realm. But he's not going to be able to find anything. Stun from Tengen onto Good Boy.
Oh.
1 goes over to Hashira. Avalon jumps on out. Gyu's going to find himself in the middle of 3. He's going to get burned down by Eclipse. A few more autos will do it. That's 1. Arctic getting chunked down as well. In goes Don Don. Finds the stun in the backline. Eclipse flash forward to try to follow up. But Deborah stands on top. Finds the angle and limps out of there with just enough health to stay alive. And Hashira get the dragon. They get the close fight. And just like that, they are back in it.
Wow, what an explosive fight. They had a really good catch there on the Good Boy. Took out what I would consider the most dangerous member for Instinct here. And then Guillaume and Deborah playing this fight out really, really well. You thought Gyu kind of, was face tanking everything, but soaked up enough cooldowns. But Hashira now find themselves with about a 1,000 gold lead, almost Yeah, about a 1,000 gold lead here.
Yeah, I mean that Mordekaiser value going crazy, taking out the Jarvan in the early onset of the fight means Avalon, couldn't find an engage early on, and then just somehow staying alive. And I think Tengen was the hero of that fight, finding the stun onto Good Boy, who still has flash up. It was that close, and that kind of unexpected. And then had the ulti on Eclipse early on as well, so that fight looks so much easier for them. That once the engage of Instinct was able to come through, I've been talking about this. Whoever can get that first engage is going to be usually favored. And this time it was Hashira through Tengen. And despite the fact that Avalon and Don Don jumped onto the backline with a relatively okay looking angle, just not enough as Deborah able to stay alive and shred through, finish the rest of the damage. IE now in, and it looks like the Xayah going to be the one with the healing reduction. So crucially picked up by someone there.
Yeah.
We'll see how these next fights begin to play out, as I'd expect Baron to be kind of the next marker as both teams posture over vision there.
Yep. Hashira coming in, sweeping out this vision here. I want to see how close. Good Boy is about 400 gold away from death cap here. Probably 200 to 150 with the D ring, so just not terrible. Start to see that collector coming out from Eclipse.
Yeah. Something I want to point out, this is the other good part about Nico support. Just using the W clone to scout out vision. When you are maybe a bit behind and scared of being jumped on as that squishy support, this is something Nico can do that no other range support really can. Is just check bushes with abilities here. You obviously can't check it with your health bar, so send the W in. It's up, every 10 to 15 seconds, and you can scout out bushes very safely. So that's something Don Don able to do pretty well in preventing any pounce from Hashira, at least for now. 2 minutes till Drake. Gold is pretty much even, within 1,000. We'll see how these teams continue to play out. Both, I think it looks like just a bit of a 4-1 split right now. And mostly just farming up safely, getting ready for that next big team fight.
Yeah, there's death cap completed for Syndra. And no MR onto Akaza or Giyu. So I feel pretty confident saying Syndra would one-shot anybody not named Poppy here.
Yeah.
Even then, I think he one-shots Poppy because he's
Probably
5 levels
right.
up. Oh my.
That is crazy. Akaza caught up a bit in levels, so that's good. I think it's a very clear target for Hashira's, either the Syndra or the Corki. Jump on them as Giyu getting traded on, but in comes the Death Realm, flashing forward, has the Hexblade damage coming through. Good Boy forced to flash out. The ulti's not going to be enough, and one more auto will do it, so looks like a 1-for-1 as Avalon should be able to clean up that one. But that Syndra falling down, and I think crucially, Syndra will have no flash in these coming team fights, so something to keep an eye on for the side of Hashir. We're talking about that valuable target Arctic. Steals away the scuttle. But he's going to be collapsed on here. Fi is in the area. They're not going to pull the trigger. They don't want to give up too much mid in doing so. Akaza fishing for some angles. 30 seconds on the Drake. Both the dead solo laners do have TP. Be interesting to see how long Hashira kind of stick around in trying to keep pressure. TP from Ahri coming in. Both teams posturing over some mid lane positioning. But it is going to be Hashira with that inside track. We'll see if Instinct are able to kind of force their way in. TP coming through from Giyu. We'll have the Death Realm up and available as we will get ready for another team fight. Once again, Soul Point. Avalon just jumps on in. Arctic there with the flank, but on the backside, Eclipse and Good Boy trying to kite out the engage of Akaza. They do so successfully. And now Giyu brings Eclipse into the Death Realm, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Avalon on the backside getting a bit caught out as well, so both junglers down, but Eclipse Valkyrieing out, doesn't quite make it all the way. TP coming in from Arctic. 2 down for the side of Instinct, only 1 down for the side of Hashira, but Ari was forced back. Gyu trying to turn it back on a Good Boy, overstepping and doing so, gets the stun onto the Mordekaiser, and a root comes through from Don Don. Arctic looking to follow up with a few knockouts, but it's not going to be enough for the time being. So 3 versus 3 on the map. Dragon still up. Xayah still up. Syndra still up. But Instinct, I think they have the inside track for now. Looks like they're going to call off the Dragon, though. Just not quite healthy enough. Ari walking on up. Throws the charm just to be safe. Don Don's going to be caught out by it, so that's going to be a delayed recall. Jarvan up in 3. Vi was up on the map first. We have Baron up as well. We'll see. I'm getting ready for another fight. We're not getting any rest here. So Eclipse is in shop. Gonna buy an item. It's gonna be BF Sword. 4 items on this Xayah. Death Cap for the Syndra. Xayah
More
gonna start
importantly,
up the
Seeker's
Drake.
arm guard on this Syndra now.
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna make it to the Dragon in time though. 4K. It's gonna be a secure for Akaza. And so after all that action, Dragon goes over to Hashira. But Baron pings coming down for Instinct.
Yeah, Deborah looking the back here. Gets a BF sword.
I don't know if he can. I mean,
Eclipse
Eclipse is starting this one up. Good Boy fishing in the area. Just catches Tengen. That's already half of Tengen's health through that support shield as well. Akaza fishing for the area. Gonna jump on in. Now all of a sudden, Instinct a bit pincered out. Avalon has to retreat. Mordekaiser does have the Death Realm. Should Hashira decide to play this. But they're going to back off for now. Stun catches onto Gyu, who brings Arctic on into the Death Realm. Tengen charging up the Poppy Ult, gonna fall short of anyone. Arctic does have the World Ender. In comes Don Don, in comes Avalon. They dive onto the back line, but the trade back from Akaza onto Eclipse. Good Boy picks up the first kill of the fight. He's looking for the second. Avalon gets charmed. Deborah Morgan finds Xayah. Oh my gosh, it's a double. It's a triple. Arctic on the backside. He's gonna be picked up for the fourth. Quadra kill for Deborah. These fights are so tough to follow. Oh my gosh. But it's Hashira who come out on top. It looked like a great engage coming from Instinct, but Xayah able to stay alive. Finds the root caller onto that low health Jarvan. And the Syndra and Corki just not able to get on the Xayah and finish it up. So Hashira come out on top.
Yeah, Xayah had an amazing ult. It dodged the Jarvan ult, but still locked her in there. And also, I believe, dodged a QW from Syndra. So they were just kind of left there having to kite away, and then that created enough space where Deborah could just sit back and just free fire.
Yeah, I mean, phenomenal positioning out of the Hashira
that's
AD
a
carrier.
BT.
She was doing that all without flash. So that's something to know. Yeah, he is going BT. I would have liked GA.
Yeah, I kind of with you with that. I think the GA, well,
it's not horrendous
either
either way. You have survivability.
Yeah.
But you know, this fight has shown that Deborah is kind of the sole carry of Hashira. It is all on the AD carry shoes, AD carry shoulders, and so want him to stay alive to help output that damage. Baron is still up. This time we'll have Flash up for probably the next major objective fight. For Instinct, it will just be a matter of if they can get onto this Xayah. The rest of Hashira playing around him so well. Good Boy gonna pick up a tower to help respawn. All the positionings around this Baron. No team really wants to give it up for free. Now, Avalon's been finding...
They could pull the trigger if they see Deborah stay up topside. Just showed himself on the ward. But he's walking back mid now.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Avalon's been finding really good Cataclysm engages, but just hasn't been enough follow-up from the side of Instinct. Deborah Morgan with that Featherstorm, able to successfully keep himself alive pretty safely. And in comes Akaza.
Oh,
He's flashing forward. That's way deep, though. So does Avalon going deep. Arctic with the World Ender. Deborah Morgan forced to Featherstorm and flash out. But a flash forward from Good Boy catches the stun onto Tengen, who does get rooted by Don Don. And that will be 1 kill going over to Instinct. Akaza, I don't know what angle he saw. I'm not sure if it was an Eco clone, but going a bit deep. And that's going to give over the Baron to Instinct.
yeah, there's definitely Akuza just seen a moment there and pulled the trigger on it. Gyu, though, getting this top lane tier 2.
He's under tower, but the rest of Hashira are in the area. It's a bit of a crazy cross map, but it should work out as Deborah going to be able to clean this one up yet again. Arctic trying to flash out. It's not going to be enough, though. So Baron and a 1-for-1 for Instinct. They're going to stick around and hit the tower, but Deborah has no flash, and Avalon going in with the Cataclysm. Good Boy and Eclipse, they just got to get an area to follow up. In comes Don Don! 3-man Pop Blossom, a 2-man stun from Good Boy over top. And that's going to clean up the rest of the fight. Avalon, sacrifice not in vain. As the rest of Instinct at bottom side of the map, finding the punish, and now they should have an angle into Drake. Hashira staying a bit too long there, you gotta think. They do get the inhib tower, but now you're into a Baroned up squad, and crucially, this Dragon is still up. Yes, Akaza is up, so you see some hesitancy around Instinct starting it, but this now establishes, it should establish prio for them to run back another Dragon fight.
Yep, that's the Nico ult that's going to make you just be like, alright, gotta count minions now.
Yeah, I mean, it's that so tough to keep track of.
Yep.
I think the bigger problem there was just staying there a bit too long. We see Deborah Morgan did sell the Essence Reaver to go for the GA. So is going to have that up for this next fight. Good Boy with Zanya's up. Still no flash up for the Xayah, but it looks like Dragon is going to go over to the side of Instinct. They're starting it up. Akaza, the only hope of Hashira to potentially prevent this from going away. They're trying to get the reset. It does reset, so that's going to bring the fight back to ground zero. Deborah Morgan trying to approach the rest of the team, get themselves in a position to output that damage that we know this Xayah can do. Rest of Instinct still starting up the Drake. It's 5v5 battle lines drawn across the bottom lane river. 5k on the Drake. A stun going through onto Gyu. Keeper's Verdict falls short yet again. Avalon, it's a 50-50 on the Drake. 3.7k. No team is hitting it. Redemption comes on down. In comes Don Don. It's 54 health, but Akaza gets it. 1 kill over onto the Poppy. Akaza going in. He's just going to fall down, and Deborah Morgan caught in between 5. The GA spawns, but it's not going to mean anything there. Eclipse jumping over the wall to finish up the other carry of the side of Hashira. And with 4 down, Instinct marching forward for more. They still have the Baron. They're going to look to end this one.
Let's...
20 seconds on Poppy. Baron's up for another 20 seconds, but it looks like
Poppy
they're splitting the call.
45. He can't pelt the wave away. I think if they pushed as one, they might be able to end here. I think splitting up like this is gonna feel bad. You'll get double inhib out of this. Yeah, I think this is fine here.
Yeah, just
I really don't like. I don't like the Essence Reaver for GA, because now you're back down to 75% crit. You're still there if you're Deborah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the bigger problem there was just Hashira were not able to find an angle that time around. You know, these Poppy ults have been missing in some of these later team fights, and I will say they've been pretty bad misses, like just falling short. If it's not going to hit, you just got to hold on to it. And then the rest of Hashira engages are just going in one by one. And Instinct have been able to pick them off. So need to see Hashira fight a little more together. Give Deborah some space, but Tengen already caught out. I mean, 100-0. Unleashed Wrath comes on through. And just like that, Instinct have a numbers advantage again.
Yeah, Tengen's now at the point where he's just going to get one shot by everything. Oh, Deborah. Oh, all right.
Just a little auto for the Jarvan. Still has the Featherstorm. Flash is coming up for the Zaya, so going to be a bit more comfortable there. But he gets caught by the stun in the first place. Featherstorm comes on through to prevent any more damage. Avalon's in a little bit deep, but there's no damage outside of Deborah. And so once again, Instinct marching on forward with very little care. They do still have a few ultis up. And now Deborah, with no ulti, has the Essence Reaver back, but I don't know how much it's going to matter, as this third inhib is going to go over to Instinct. We're back to a 5v5. Two-man
Oh
stun
my
from Good
lord.
Boy. That is just half of Deborah's health off of one ability. Oh, we got an ad. I'm going to pause.
Alright.
Well,
I did not
two-man stun.
notice.
Game is, I think it's just over just like that. Yeah, we can leave it running. Don Don going in onto the Ahri. Pop Blossom will connect. And the rest of Instinct, an easy jump forward to kill Deborah. Despite Hashira's best efforts, an over 40-minute game, 6 dragons total. The carries and the team fighting of Instinct reigned supreme in Game 2. 12 kills for Good Boy, 11 kills for Eclipse. And Instinct are now up 2-0.
Yeah, what an insane, like, just kind of back and forth game. You honestly thought Instinct was snowballing this game into their favor, but then Hashira showing quite a bit of life there in the mid game, getting two dragons there and really winning team fights where they didn't have an advantage going into it. Found themselves up, I think, about 2K gold after that mid game sequence, but Instinct, man. They're playing well. Don Don on this Nico looks an absolute nightmare to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, I'm giving most of the credit to Avalon there, honestly. Like, I think Nico has been playing a little more follow-up engage. Avalon really the one pulling the first trigger, making stuff happen. All members of Instinct really doing well there. I think Arctic maybe not having the sort of effect you would expect out of a top laner that kind of left lane 4-1. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. Maybe in Game 3, Gyu can, clean up those laning woes, and that's potentially an angle for Hashira. But in the meantime, the Instinct team fighting has just looked so clean in these first 2 games. Hashira looked good in this game too, though, I will say.
For sure. We'll see if they can kind of just build off some of that going into this game 3 here. Now that they're on their season is on the brink here.
That it is. I'm gonna take a quick step away. Uh, we'll be back. Just gonna get some tea. Go to the bathroom real quick. Uh, but I'll be back in a few. Feel free to start
All right.
draft.
Yep, draft is started. And just waiting for teams to start. Oh, well, okay. I will shut up. Draft is started. This is BO5. This is BO5, so looking at the draft here, Instinct looks like they're gonna go with the same bands. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Quay getting taken away here. Hashira getting rid of Ivern. Sorry about that. Yeah, instant going with these same bands here. Hashira, looks like might be changing it up. No, no, it is. It appears to be the same bands. Yeah, so both teams having the similar bands here. Instinct now on the blue side. Let's see what they want to take here. Oh, the Oriana first pick here for Instinct. Okay. Let's see what Hashira wants to respond with. Oriana's just generally just a really, really good mid lane. She can play well into a lot of different picks here, but I would expect Guillaume to answer with one of his more I was like call him like hands check, like playmaking picks. We've seen stuff like the Akali, the Yone, the Fizz, the that's not where I was going with that one. The Victor. So I don't know how I feel about this. It doesn't strike me as a Guillaume pick. I mean, we have seen him on it. I've actually had the fortune of playing against his Victor here, but into Oriana, I feel like you got to put some pressure onto this game early and try to make it a little more chaotic with something like an Akali, like a Yone, like a Fizz, type angle here. But we'll see. Maybe he knows something we don't here. The Thresh coming out for Tengen is interesting. Instinct though responding with the Nautilus Kaisa, so really good cohesive bot lane coming out of Instinct here, and Hashira going with the Thresh Caitlyn bot lane as a response here. So this is you have a lot of range on the Kaisa, and if you do end up landing a Thresh hook, then the traps that come with it are also really nice combos. So now we have symmetrical bands here. Okay, Nocturne taken away. Definitely want to get rid of the Ori Nocturne. Ori Nocturne Kaisa also sounds like just the nastiest thing to go against right here in a game 3. Jungler pool getting pinched a little. Wait, seriously? That's a Teemo ban? All right. Somebody showing Teemo on the op.gg that I didn't know about. All right. That's different. And then New York taken away here from Arctic. See what Instinct responds with. Kindred. All right. So again, jungler pool getting pinched here. I would expect Hashira to pick jungle at R4 here just to give counterpick over the top lane. Let's see what is left in the jungle pool. You've got some interesting stuff here. Lee Sin's still up. Volibear's still up. Viego was still up. And then you start to get into some of the weird, wacky ones. I think Wukong was picked game 1. So that was not up. RIP my pick'ems. So Volibear also kind of a flex pick here. So Instinct going with the Trundle. That is a little bit of a flex pick, but about 95% of the time will be considered jungle. Could we see a Jax angle here? Jax is relatively good. Oh, and Bessa being left unbanned here. So Mbessa's really nice overall. Actually, those two could be interchangeable as well. Mbessa jungle is kind of a thing, and I think it's getting buffed even next patch, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me. So let's see what Hashira has for the R5 pick with their season on the line here.
I am back. Just in time to finish up draft, too.
There's no that got
Oh!
locked in.
Whoa! Season on the line! The Martians have the death beam pointed at Earth! I want Gyu Heimerdinger!
Is this? No, this is Gyu's Heimerdinger. Yeah, because Guillaume would be taking the victor. And we've got some dongers in the chat here, actually. So maybe they know something I don't, because the Teemo got banned here in the 4th spot for Instinct. And Gyu just picking another Yordle.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't.
wow.
I is Bessa has so much mobility. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but like I don't know enough about the Mbessa Heimerdinger matchup. That was not on my bingo card.
Yeah, I mean, they banned Gyu's Teemo, so I think at that point, you naturally just go to the Heimerdinger. That's really all you have left.
I
So
we got some arcane champions as well coming out for Hashira, so maybe trying to play through that, but okay.
I'm here for it. I mean, I think the theory crafting behind it. You want to play Heimerdinger into dive, and that's how Hashira you talked about is how they like to play. They like people coming into them. That's what their comps reflect. Heimerdinger, plays into that. It likes that. So you see this Nautilus jumping onto you. You can block Nautilus hooks. You see Trundle, Kaisa, and Bessa, they are all diving in. So you set up this very nice siege line behind a Caitlyn, Victor, Heimerdinger. I mean, if you get a lead anywhere and you're able to transfer that into objectives and objective setup, it's tough to see Hashira losing positioning over anything. And it's going to be, even tougher for Instinct to find some of these engage angles that have been working out for them so well. In theory, but I haven't seen Heimer in a while, and I don't want to doubt it, but that is definitely the spicy pick of the series. The Nasus was already something, and now we got Heimerdinger.
Yeah, I got nothing. I feel like just knowing how these two champions want to play, and Bessa can weave in and out, but then also it's just like how close to the vest do you want to play it? Because if you reach out and take too much, Heimer's liable to just rocket you, and then you're gonna eat freaking turrets.
Right?
So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, how does this mid lane matchup look of Orianna Victor? Because Good Boy, I think,
Uh,
has been running over Guillaume in the first two games, so I want to get your thoughts on
so
that.
Orianna matchups are actually the simplest thing in the world. If you're a good Orianna, you can't lose. If you're a bad Orianna, then you can lose very hard. It's a lot of it is up to the Orianna player. Even in matchups where you're even skill set, you can still find ways of just grinding out and winning as Orianna. When it comes to outside of laning phase, it really depends on the team around her. Like I really love Orianna with Mbessa. I think it's kind of a sneaky good ball delivery system.
Hmm.
And Mbessa does love some enchanters type properties in the team comps. So um, the specific Orianna Victor, I mean, if you dodge Victor laser, you tend to just attack his mana pool and there's not much he can do. But if Victor gets a few lasers and some range poke off,
Yeah.
he can start to really pressure in that lane.
Fair enough. It's
Yeah,
it's just a lot of ifs, and I'm looking at the player matchup,
yeah.
and I feel like that's gonna be a good look for Good Boy. Um,
Yeah, I don't I have nothing but the utmost respect for Hashira. I actually got a chance to scrim them early in the season. Definitely a talented team, and Guillaume's a great mid. But these are not the champions I would have associated him with, especially in a deeper Fearless. Like, I want to see the Akali, I want to see the Fizz, I want to see like his Yone from last split that I laned against was absolutely a nightmare. I thought more of those champions would come out. Again, he's shown decent capabilities of playing these mages, especially the Rise. He always gravitated towards, but the Ziggs, the Victor, it's just not something I thought he would lean on with a
Yeah,
season on the line.
yeah, I definitely want to see something a little more aggressive. I feel like something that can fight back more in the mid lane is when I think Yome. That's kind of what I think of. Uh, and then I do want to touch on the bot lane matchup a bit. That should be a fun one. Uh, Caitlyn into Kaisa is very Caitlyn favored, and Thresh into Nautilus. People may call it even, but I like the Nautilus side of things just because if you ever get a hook and it's a good hook onto a squishy, Thresh isn't that tanky anymore. So with a Nautilus Kaisa follow up, there's a lot of room for potential kills and all in damage there. So I think that bot lane will be very interesting to follow as Deborah Morgan got really ahead in that game too, and that was a bit of a new look, a bit of an unexpected look on paper going into this series. So you're setting yourself up for a similar situation where you pick Caitlyn, you kind of need to snowball the Caitlyn and play through the Caitlyn, especially when you have this siege comp. So I'll be curious to see if they're able to circumvent any all-in damage threat that this Nautilus Kaisa have. Because if not, that could be trouble.
Yeah, I kind of thought I think it's like Kaisa Nautilus favor just because of Nautilus's capabilities of making something happen in the lane. But then like if the moment Thresh lanes will hook into a Caitlyn trap, uh, there's gonna be a lot of health loss from the other side. So I wasn't 100% sure how to look at that bot lane. I think they're very skill expressive bot lanes. Um,
In theory, it should be Caitlyn Thresh favored. If you can position right, Thresh can flay out any Nautilus hook if he has that timing down, which I'm just kind of trusting that Tengen does. You can prevent the Nautilus auto attack from coming through. That will be very helpful in just the 2v2. Uh, but outside of that, you know, it's going to be tough for Nautilus and Kaisa to find an angle. They're going to need like help from Trundle. And I will say Avalon has been running these jungle early games just through camp clears alone, not even like ganking map impact. He's been able to get levels of leads onto Akaza, who I think a lot of people have as MVP of the regular season, just through faster clearing and lane prio everywhere else. I will say this is the one game where I don't see Instinct having lane prio as comfortably as the first two games. So that may be something that changes things, but it's gonna be good, man. The Heimerdinger throws a wrench in things. It's gonna be I don't know what to expect.
yeah, I'm with you. If you're looking bot lane, I might just take my camera top lane just to see. If Trundle goes bot the top and is clear to set up a okay, yeah, throw a wrench, good pun. Okay, I
Yeah,
like that. Um,
thank you, lead. You got it. Uh,
oh, this is electrocute in Bessa, by the way.
I mean,
Okay, maybe it's just a
that's what you take in the Heimerdinger matchup, I guess.
yeah. All right. Let's check Gi's runes. Outside of the arcane comment, we have Taste of Blood and Treasure Hunter. I forgot Treasure Hunter was even in the game.
Yeah.
All right. So Okay. Yeah. So, shield bash bone plating coming out for Victor here, Guillaume. So I'd expect him to play pretty aggressive. Good boy with the Arcane Comet himself, actually, is something I normally see airy into like similar auto attacking matchups. So that's an interesting one.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see how it plays out. Um, Ping's coming down early because I do expect maybe a bit of a level one action here. Kind of hook us back into the thick of things once we get out of this pause. We do have Thresh and Nautilus on each side. I want to see something. Rirka trying to tell Guillaume, you know, play the level one, but I don't know if it's going to happen. Yeah, Comet's very interesting out of the Orianna. I almost wonder if that's a mistake because you got to think like Airy or Phase Rush is maybe better, but throwing down the gauntlet for lane, no issues with that. I want to point out heal for Don Don as well. That's a bit interesting too. Pull chat back up rather than nice out. All right, 10. Gyu is restarting his PC. Heimerdinger pick. It broke our brains and it just broke his computer, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I again not was I that's not what I was expecting to see. Was a Heimer.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I just start playing that solo queue now. Screw it.
It's a good pick. I would think into anti-dive. Top lane has just got to be annoying. It's got to be annoying to play against because it's a ranged top laner. You can't ever really dash in theory. So this should be the game where Gyu can really run over the individual 1v1, saving the R5 for the top laner. I think is a
He
good
saved
look.
the he saved the R5 for a Heimerdinger.
I mean, what do you R4 Heimerdinger? Like I feel like if you do that and then they pick some range top laner, then it gets maybe a little tougher. But
I just like for me it's just how do you come to this? Like season on the line
that's
and
what
you
I'm
just look
saying.
over at this comp and you're just like, "You know what sounds good here? Fucking Heimerdinger." You're like, "Wait, what?"
Send it, man. They picked
Okay.
Nasus game one. It honestly was doing decently, scaled up well. Even the Mordekaiser, with how far it fell behind, I feel like was having really good impact. So this Heimerdinger is something that should steamroll the lane. Trust,
Yeah.
trust, trust your top laner, and hope the rest of your map
It's
can kind of survive the onslaught that Avalon and Don Don are bound to bring.
I mean the really good news is like I did jokingly like say it, but looking at the other team comp, if Arctic does get put behind, there is no way they ever get to this Heimerdinger without just eating a million turret shots and just everything else. The zone control Heimerdinger is going to grab, and then in the 5v5 with Deborah's traps and potential like Thresh Flays, lanterns, stuff like that, this
Yeah.
is going to be a hard one to play. I really do like this Heimerdinger spot. I'm just like, how the hell do you just get to this? It blows my mind.
Has he got it in the
Like,
back pocket? I mean, we use
it's
a Hashira fan, right? Is this something that is it in the match history? Is it just a deep pocket pick? Like, what's the story here? I'd be curious to know.
I yeah, I want the lore behind this as well. And my guess is this lore is also going to include Teemo because you banned it, fourth on blue side here.
I gotta
So
think the Teemo is just a little fun because like you can see the vision with the Heimerdinger. We've talked through it theory wise enough. The Teemo, there's no way. I mean, who are you blinding? I, Trundle?
I mean Teemo has a similar concept to Heimer. Like, it's really good in the dive. in that regard. But I mean, I'm with you on that.
I guess.
Maybe should have banned the Heimer instead of the Teemo.
Yeah. So I think it'll come down to which team really gets ahead. I feel like Instinct, they need to be ahead in this game. They didn't necessarily have to be in other games, but this game, I'm looking at it, you got to think they need to find some angles early on. That way they don't become subject to all this zone control later on, and that's Comet Ori doing the trading. Bot lane getting pushed as expected, and both junglers once again clearing down, clearing the same way. We'll see if Avalon is yet again faster than his counterpart. Don taking a bit of damage.
Yeah, I think the top to bot clear was kind of a given from Avalon here. I don't think you want to just walk into a Heimer lane. All right, this is... Oh my lord. Okay.
Yeah, Arctic is having a fun time.
That. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Hook's going to miss from Don. That gives Tengen a bit of an angle. Hook connecting. Oh. Trap not going to be connected on the follow-up, but does get it afterwards. Aftershock was able to come on through, though, so... Trade of Ignite and Heal is going to favor the side of the Hashiras. Arctic going in for a bit of a trade, but I mean, he just can't. Wonder what comms are like. I know certain top laners would be voicing their disapproval at the very least.
Yeah. Yeah, this is, like, first of all, if you had Heimerdinger in your back pocket, why didn't you play this against Matthias's Ivern?
Well, I see that's not as good of a matchup, right? Like, because Ivern's ranged, you would think he can maybe poke it out. Here, I mean, you said it earlier. If Arctic ever dashes forward, he just tanks so much damage. Can't even touch the flash forward from Don, though. Both junglers in the area. Both junglers level 4. Eclipse trying to get the dive on, but he doesn't have the angle. And Hook goes wide, only finds the minion. So flashes out from the bottom lane of Instinct is going to be crucial cooldowns not available, and this time Akaza going to be able to find his way into the scuttle and pick that one up. I think this time, having the bot lane prio coming in well for Akaza. Much easier to play around these winning lanes, but being there for the gank should anything come up and leaving with a summoner advantage. And just able to transition that into a very easy scuttle. Arctic at Electrocute doing some damage back onto Gyu, but it just gets traded back so easily. It's good boy.
He's also got the most annoying Heimer skin because these little dragons are just pelting you.
Yep. I'm with that. Gyu playing the Heimer to perfection from skin to gameplay. Everything you need. Yep. Don gonna get pulled back a little bit by the hook. Tengen goes in, but he's under tower, taking some tower shots. Eclipse forcing the Hashira support to flash out. Gyu TP'd back in. Arctic staying in there. Flash stun comes through, and Heimer strikes first. First blood to Gyu Tomioka.
Raise the dongers.
Raise your dongers.
Yep. The flash stun and the rocket after you put the turret down. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but the Heimer mechanics were on point.
Heimer's level 6, too. He's going to try to play this. I don't know if he's going to be able to, as Arctic did flash forward. The stuns come on through. Oh my gosh, the turret's doing a lot of damage. Not quite going to be enough this go around. The potency of that 2v1, though, it's there. It's going to be scary.
That's the one gank you get on Heimer. And yep, now top lane is just kind of still over with here. I'd like to note that on that first blood, Gyu pushed him in, TP'd back with the Faded Ashes, and then went for the flash all in. So it was up a back on that as well.
Yeah, I think well played.
Higgins with the he should have took Conquer. Okay, all right, let's not act like we know Heimer here. I'm gonna trust Gyu on this pick. No offense.
Yeah, I could see the Conquer angle. I like Comet though. I think he's just playing for the lane. I do think I see the angle for Conqueror with how long you're expecting fights to go. We kind of saw a glimpse into that there. But I mean, in the meantime, it's working out well. He's up 25 CS, and He's just going to have non-stop pressure here. Those dragons, they just keep pelting.
It's okay. It's like looking at it now, he's almost 1,000 gold up on Arctic already with just one plate down.
Oh my gosh, Dragon is up 2 for Hashira. They still have bot lane pressure. You know, Good Boy is doing pretty well in this mid lane, up, you know, about 15 CS. It is going to be neutralized a bit. So that's kind of the shining light of Instinct right now. Arctic going in for a bit of a trade. Does have quite a bit of damage, but the stun goes back.
What?
And the Donger finds another. Second kill for Gyu. He just hits the stun, and then all those turret empowered lasers coming through, and Arctic just falls again.
That was a legit one shot. Yeah, Arctic is like losing it his comms right now, or he's muted and dead quiet.
I mean, I don't even blame him. It's a great angle for an Ambessa trade against any other champion, dashing in, chunking him out. But Gyu finds the stun, and the damage comes through, and a whole bunch of damage with that. Don Don trying to get on the map, maybe answer something back as Good Boy brings back the victor. Don Don trying to close range, goes for the flash hook. It's a trade of flashes. And so Guillaume forced to flash out. Instinct going to continue to look to play through this winning mid lane, as things are not going swimmingly everywhere else. You got 3 longswords versus a lost chapter in Faded Ashes. Arctic, he's dashing forward again. But this time the ulti comes through. He may be able to turn it around. Doesn't have the cooldowns though, and Gyu picks up the third. Feat of Warfare solo for this Hashira squad. At least they're able to trade it back. Don Don in the area doesn't look like he wants to fight initially. But Grubs are up. Caitlyn has roamed up, and they've matched the victor into Eclipse. So both teams, I think, a little hesitant to start it up. Don Don backing up for the time being, giving pressure over to that bush. Recognizing numbers. Hook goes wide. But Hashira is still going to be able to start up the Grubs.
Yeah, this is I mean, you feel fortunate that they put resources up top just to try and get this Heimer behind, and you know, you snuck this dragon, but now everything topside I feel like is gonna go Hashira's way. You got a Blackfire Torch already on the Heimer. I think this is just going from bad to worse.
Yeah, it looks like Instinct trying to answer back, though. No flash on this Victor. Killer Instinct comes on through for Cliffs to reposition. Without the Chaos Storm available for this Victor, you don't think he'll have enough damage to knock down Eclipse. Kill is going to go over to the AD carry of Instinct, so a little something back, but they're losing mid lane pressure to do so. You can see Deborah. Deborah has had really good trap placement.
Yeah, Deborah's looked really good on this Caitlyn. I think he's drew quite a few bans on it throughout the split. So this is definitely a very comfortable champion for Deborah.
Yeah, I can see that. Arctic, I mean, he's just going to try to farm it up, but now he's playing into a 3 grub Heimerdinger. So second plate goes over to Gyu. He is now up 1.3k gold. That is, I feel like it's only going to get worse. Akaza, though, is caught out. Ulti's coming on through to layer it down. Pillar comes on through, but a flash chase from Good Boy. Not quite enough. He's a bit short. He's trying to close the gap. Void Seeker's short as well. Don Don still holding the front line, pushing for more as Tengen falls. But heroic efforts from the Thresh do save his jungler. Great play from Instinct, though. They're trying to capitalize away from this Heimerdinger. Play on the bot side of the map. We'll see if they can continue to do so as yet again, Gyu Tomioka. Another kill onto Arctic. Arctic has had Gyu's number through these first 2 games, but the Donger changes things. Empowered missiles come on through and knock down the top laner of Instinct.
Yeah, Gyu just might solo carry this game.
Well, yeah, who matches the Heimerdinger, right? Like, you can't actually collapse on him. Oh, and public execution. Just some public shaming there. Falling short, and
Well played.
now
So
Akaza's in the area as well.
we had a. I'm gonna wait till see if this turret falls. So electrocute, sudden impact, Sixth Sense, Ultimate Hunter, and then it was second wind, Shield Bash,
Yeah,
secondary.
I feel like I like that. That's got to be the call, playing into the poke. It's what's maybe kept the CS lead from being any worse is Tengen, caught out on the bottom side of the map, does have the flash up, but Don Don and Good Boy are in the area giving chase. Hook connects onto Deborah, and in comes Don Don with the ulti. Two-man shockwave onto the back line from Good Boy. Eclipse flashing forward onto Deborah, and Don Don flashing forward as well. All of Instinct pulling the go buttons, and it's working beautifully. 4 for none. Giyu's in the area, but I don't think this Heimerdinger has enough. Just kidding. The turret's coming out through. He gets one. He's looking for more. The empowered tower. It picks up one back. It's a 4 for 1. It was close. But I keep downing Giyu, and he keeps proving me wrong. So they get something back. But overall, a great answer from Instinct about 12 minutes into this game. Oh my goodness. I mean, that beautiful play from Instinct. They catch Tengen out on the onset of that. And, he flashes out, but it's still not enough. And the rest of Instinct abilities are just layered beautifully. It's a two-man shockwave out of Good Boy. The pillar buying space from Avalon. And then Eclipse is able to jump in the backside in tandem with a three-man Nautilus Riptide. And with all that CC coming through, there just wasn't enough time for Hashira to hit. They want prolonged fights, but Instinct, they were just able to pounce and punish. And they turn that into a dragon, and now Arctic in the top side looking for a bit of a trade. Deborah caught out, though, and Eclipse is going to pick up a fourth. Talked about this all-in pressure of the Kaisa Nautilus, and it's showing fruition there. Going to be able to get a bit of gold back. Yes, Giyu gets the first tower, so that is Feat of Warfare over to Hashira. I think every other aspect of the map is in favor of Instinct, so how far can this Heimer take the Hashira?
Yeah, I think similar to game 1, where you didn't play away from the win condition and the zigs. I think here you just gotta keep supporting
Arctic
Giyu.
flashing forward to his team. Avalon blocks the hook. Keeps his top laner alive, but now they lose inside track to this tower. And 3 members with 3 grubs each. Gonna be jumping down on it. But pings are coming down. Eclipse is recalled. Don Don is in the area looking for the smoke. Gets the hook on a Giyu. The turret comes in late, but Giyu's dropping down the tower. He's playing the fight. Shockwave only hits Akaza. Riptide only onto 1 as well. Avalon trying to clean it up as in comes Eclipse. Giyu is kiting it out. Does he have enough? Hook onto Good Boy, and he's flashing forward. Does pick up Heimer. Donger down, and with that, Instinct will pick up the fight. But Hashira answering back across the map.
Yeah, that is one thing Hashira has done well all season. It feels like they can pull the trigger on cross-map objectives and macro, sorry, here, so.
Yeah, at least they're able to get that. I don't know if they're even going to be able to get the towers, though, as Arctic is beelining it down to that bot lane. Yes, he's weak, but I think he's still going to be able to answer Deborah Morgan, who's a level down on the Caitlyn. No flash either, but Arctic not going to play that one for too long. Picking up the minions, and now, you look at the carries of Instinct. 5-1 Kaisa, 3-0 Orianna, 10 Darksteel stacks. You gotta imagine that's going to be a Medjai's too. Instinct have found themselves back in this game. They're starting the Rift Herald, and now they're the ones who are kind of in this driver's seat. Maybe with the sole exception of the Heimer. But I love this call of having Orianna match the Heimer, because she should be able to clear out these towers and at least contest the push somewhat into the power pick of the Heimerdinger.
Yeah, I think that's been the one weakness of Heimerdinger, it's not necessarily his power level. It's just you need to have a specific team comp, but mages can also answer you on the side lane very well. So sending Orianna there, I think, is going to be really, really nice.
Yeah, it looks like a QW will kind of kill these towers. And Good Boy, he's going to be able to play the range that Arctic was not able to. Picking up those towers just with a few little command moves. Or is it command attack? I apologize. In the meantime, Dragon in a bit less than a minute. Expecting Instinct to have good posture around that. We talked about all the zone control that Hashira has, but without a comfortable lead, on these members, it doesn't actually come to fruition. And now Good Boy is just wailing away in the top lane tower.
Yeah. Looks like brutalize. Okay, so we're gonna have a lethality Mbessa come out.
Yeah, Deborah is going to chunk down the tower, but Eclipse has something to say about it. The minions fell down, and so Deborah having to stick around too long for the tower. At least they get it, but now no AD carry for the impending dragon spawn. Fuse trying to play the bush, but it's warded out.
Hashtag
so I don't know if that's going to be successful. Yeah, it does get sweepered, and now Rift Herald's being dropped in the mid lane. You have no AD carry, you have to give up pressure, but Instinct are still playing for more pressure here on the towers rather than the Drake. Don marching forward as Eclipse is going to drive the Herald away. Nope, he's going in. Bit aggressive there as the stun not going to connect onto the AD carry. It's only going to connect onto Don who does fall down ridiculously low. And in comes the hook right into all the towers. Victor picking up a kill. One-man shockwave on Gyu, who flashes out. Arctic wants revenge. He finally picks up the little Yordle. Hook onto Good Boy as well, and he's in the thick of things. He's going to fall down. Eclipse in the thick of things as well. Don trying to save his AD carry, but it's not going to be enough. Deborah comes back and hits through it all alongside Guillaume. And the carries of Hashira reign supreme at the end of the fight. Picking up all those members. Hashira finally getting a large team fight to go in their favor.
Yeah, I was holy shit, what a fight. The Rift Herald charge was questionable.
Yeah, I mean, I think that really set your team up for failure there, because now all of a sudden Don's got to try to keep you alive. You're this multi-kill Kaisa, most of the consistent damage on your team. And then it was really just great hooks out of Tengen. He caught out Good Boy, caught out Arctic, caught out Avalon, caught out Don. I feel like there were 4 hooks all in that one fight from the Thresh. All into the towers of Gyu. But the action is not stopping. Gold is equalized. Arctic is in the top lane but does have TP. Instinct try to make their approach through this crazy zone control. Avalon's bit caught out. He gets stunned. And that's one down. Just a one-man shockwave in response. This zone control coming out of the Hashira. It's so strong. Arctic's looking for the angle but doesn't have the Mbessa ulti. Hook gets blocked by the tower as Gyu's holding strong in the front line. Arctic getting blown up as well. Instinct just have such a tough time fighting into the squad of Hashira. And Dragon goes over their way, and they're able to turn towards the Otacon. No jungler, no top laner. Should be 2 nice neutral objective pickups for the team that is on the brink of elimination.
Yeah, I mentioned the how scary the zone control can be if Instinct doesn't draw a line in the sand early on objectives here, and that was kind of a really prime example of it.
Yeah, now Otacon for Instinct is, or Otacon for Hashira is going to be very nice for them. Help them catch back up in levels. See, Victor's up a level. Deborah, despite being so far behind, only down 1 level, and now even in items, should be able to fight back a bit into Eclipse. And more so, just looking at those team fights, it is so tough to play them out because, you just can't go in. You need a perfect engage. But if Hashira keep structuring themselves well enough to prevent that from happening, Instinct can't find the angles. Akaza's marching
Oh,
forward onto Avalon. This is a little bit deep, but the Trundle is forced to flash out. Shockwave goes wide onto Gyu, who is falling low, and the
oh.
bouncing stun grenade is going to force Flash out of Good Boy. So almost some heroics out of the Instinct mid laner on getting a trade back, but the Shockwave just barely misses. Game of inches would have been a crucial kill back.
Yeah, that took some eggs there from Gyu to just kind of sit there with Good Boy, but nice ult grenade forcing the flash out of him.
Yeah, hook onto Akaza, but that is a tanky volley bear. Eclipse jumping on in to try to output some damage. Not going to happen. They do pick up the blue buff, though, so both jungle buffs stolen away from Instinct on the prolonged play. And, you know, I'm expecting next fight to really be around Dragon for Hashira. They don't have great engage tools. It's really just about getting set up and laying siege to play around these neutral objectives. The onus is on Instinct to try to find some picks and some angles before they let Hashira do that.
Yeah, I think all right, so I was going to make a point on Gyu and he's buying Zanya's. Perfect.
Yes.
Exactly what I wanted to see.
Yeah, you're playing these prolonged fights. There's the Seekers. You want to keep your Heimer alive as long as possible so those towers keep just chugging away as Shockwave forcing the flash out from Guillaume. Good Boy continuing to be a menace in this side lane and playing it well too without really getting punished.
Yeah, Good Boy is fantastic on the side lane here, especially with mages. So he's putting a lot of pressure on Guillaume here, forcing the flash. Even though Guillaume had bone plating up, so I think he could have ate that shockwave actually and fought back a little bit more there.
The superstitions in chat right now. Yeah, guys, we need you to not watch.
Mm.
Don't watch in about a minute because that's when Dragon spawns. So that's when Hashira will really need power there. This Don pushing some vision in the bot side. I think smart choice for the side of Instinct. You do have Dragon spawning in a bit over a minute. And we'll see, you know, if there's any action before then.
Mm-hmm.
Avalon playing around the bushes. Doesn't quite...
Oh,
is he
oh, but he's
he
stuck.
was pincered. Whoa. Okay.
I still don't know if you want to walk into that choke point.
That's fair. I was going to drop the tower down and then what?
He's tower plus more towers. But 2 items on for Akuza is really nice here. I love he was going tanky. I really didn't agree with the Cosmic Drive first. I thought he just needed to go like full bruiser and tank, but he got there without sacrificing much. We see an even gold spread going into this dragon here.
Yeah, volley bear builds are always weird, but you know, if Hashira can get into the setup, which it looks like they're going to be able to do, they have 5. Arctic is still in the top lane. You know, then they can start laying down these traps and these towers, and then the gravity field can come on in for Victor. And once again, how do Instinct approach this? You need to try to get some flank or hope someone missteps, but Hashira were so good last time about that. They'll tank one trap to try to force their way in, but towers falling down. 8k on the Drake, 7k on the Drake. Don's the front line. He flashes forward, only catches Tengen, but 3-man Nautilus ult. In comes Eclipse. A shockwave to help boot, but Good Boy falls down, and Eclipse is the only damage left for Instinct. He's flashing out. It's not going to be enough, and a Caitlyn ult from Deborah Morgan finishes the job. So Instinct pounce, but Hashira, they have the setup, and they win the fight. Ryu, you can come on back. Hashira picking up Drake and Baron. Yet again, a successful dragon fight into 2 major neutral objectives.
Yeah, I think I don't know if it was frustration or they just told Don to send it, but the flash into the hook. I love the Kaisa and Mbessa diving Giyu in the back line, but Seeker's arm guard OP in that situation. He laid down a big turret, a small turret, presses Anya's, and let right take the wheel.
Yep,
So,
that's Heimerdinger gameplay.
Now he has a full Zanya's. Yeah.
Whew. All things are
Yep.
coming up Hashira. They're just doing it for the plot. Classic anime
Yeah,
fashion, you
probably.
know? Just go down
Mm-hmm.
0-2, season on the line. Unlock this new breathing
True.
technique via Heimerdinger and let it take over.
Yeah, yeah, turrets.
Now with Baron, I mean, this is when the siege comp really comes to life. You have Baron, you should just be able to walk at him. Caitlyn, Victor,
Yep.
you know, Nautilus has no flash to help with the engage. Arctic's going to be a bit caught out. Akaza is wee on forward. That dead man's play cosmic drive movement speed makes that volley bear one fast sheriff and a chomp to secure the kill.
Yep. Big bear go burr.
Pretty much. So now one down for Instinct. They're going to try to hold on for the wave clear, but it's so tough to do into the squad of Hashira. Just got to find a little bit of space to hit the tower, and it should pop down. But Deborah sitting back, playing it smart. Doesn't want to get caught by any stray hooks. Cannon Minion will slowly whittle away as well.
Like, yeah, Heimer's not even there, and they're still holding the line quite well.
Yeah, I mean, they have this Baron, though, still for another minute 10, so they're going to split up into 2 lanes, 4-1. I think that's the way to do it. We'll see where Instinct decide to pull the trigger, whether it's top or mid. Should be a slower siege. And minions are desynced, so that's another thing to note. That's going to make this push a little tougher for Hashira. You really want them to knock down, you know, something here. Is Victor showing in the mid lane as well, trying to help usher things in. Ping's coming down. Instinct want to fight now. The hook goes through onto Thresh. In comes the public execution in the backline. In comes Clips. Two-man shockwave as well. It's all on Gyu and Tengen and Guillaume now, but the stun comes through. Gyu
Oh
is
my lord!
shredding them. Double kill for the Heimer. The dive is not enough for Instinct. As yes, Deborah Morgan fell down. But the rest of Hashira continuing to march forward. They still have the Baron. Crucial members of Instinct are still up. So they do still kind of have a way to at least contest these inhibs, try to keep them alive. And they will be able to do so for now. Gyu coming in with that Heimerdinger. I mean, that is crazy damage. Gyu happened,
Yeah,
Ryu.
that
That's all that happened.
yeah, that was insane. They found the exact fight they wanted, and Gyu still walked up, put down a turret, hit everybody with a grenade, and just bye. Sorry, Don Don. Sorry, Arctic.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great fight from Instinct, but once that Heimerdinger came in, landed the stun, and right in the middle of those towers, it was just too much to handle for Instinct. And now Dragon Soul up in 45. It is Cloud Soul, which, you know, I don't think is particularly strong on Hashira, but not something you're going to want to give over. Once again, it's
I
just
will.
like, how do you fight it?
I'll respectfully disagree because I think movement speed is fantastic on Heimer, Volley, Victor, and it also gives them movement speed to dodge like the rest of the engage after they get thrown.
Yeah,
So I really do like it.
fair
Um,
enough. Always tough with
but
the
we do,
intangibles. Is Avalon, he's going to walk into Thresh, flashes out, barely gets out of the hook, but loses half his health in the process. Instinct are fighting from a 5k deficit. They're trying to play this little pincer game to come out on top somehow. Ulti is popped from Gyu, so that is no big Heimerdinger tower. And it looks like Instinct are playing this kind of two-sided fight, so maybe this is something that can work out for them. But Dragon falling down to 7k. It's getting burned down. Gyu dodges away from the hook. Big shockwave onto Deborah, and in comes Eclipse onto Gyu. Forced to go into the Zanyas. Deborah Morgan falling low. 2.5k on the Drake. Avalon secures the Dragon. Gyu flashes over the wall, and the rest of Instinct are giving chase, but they're not going to be able to find anything, so it's just a 1-for-1. The end of it all. Support for AD. But crucially, Instinct pick up the Dragon, and they live to fight a few more minutes here.
yeah, the shockwave really turned everything in the Instinct's favor there. Even with the public execution missing from Arctic, and Arctic is starting to slowly like scale back into this game. I know he's got a bunch of lethality items, but I see another null magic mantle. Okay, wait, what's he building? Okay, yep.
Serpents. Ooh.
So, all right. I don't know
Victor,
how I feel
Volley,
about the
Thresh.
serpents.
I don't hate it. I feel like there's value. It's a cheap lethality item to keep yourself spiking.
Yeah,
And then it'll have its
I guess.
value.
Yeah, I guess you are now on 3 items against the Heimer. So,
See how it plays out as
but
Baron is now up. It can be melted by both teams, so I don't think this is a Baron you want to give up for if you're Instinct, you know. Saw how much damage that last Baron did, knocked down the 2 inhib towers. This one you gotta think can do more. Just a matter of who gets their hands on it. Zanya's available for both Gyu and Guillaume. It's gonna be very tough to fight into. We're gonna need more Dream Shockwaves out of Good Boy for things to go Instinct's way.
yeah, looking at the gold, Dogi is still almost 4K up on the Arctic here. I guess that's a tone to how cheap lethality items are compared to mage items here, but still a level up.
Ooh, Flash Hook does connect onto Guillaume. In comes Eclipse and 1 pick down. Instinct. They're going to be able to turn their eyes towards the Baron. They find Guillaume walking around flashless. Flash Hook from Don Don, too fast to react to. And just like that, numbers in favor of Instinct. A great shockwave to chunk out Tengen. Try to dissuade any further contention. Means Instinct start up the Drake. Akaza is in the area, maybe fishing for some stuff. Heimer TPing into the mid lane, but they are down numbers. I don't know if this looks as good as you would expect. And Baron over to Instinct. They've picked up these last 2 objectives. They are keeping themselves in this one, CLT.
Yeah, yeah, they're doing a really, really great job now of playing away from the Heimer, because that's really the linchpin that they have an issue playing into. We do see Hex Drinker picked up from Arctic, so he's going to start stacking some of the MRs here. I mean, if I'm Guillaume on this Victor, I might just full send Bloodletters here. I don't think you need to supplement any extra damage. I think you need to help Giyu be able to supplement a lot more. So that is the only MR option out there outside of Don Don. He has a null magic mantle as well. The Boric on this Boric on Trundle, yeah, you're not really autoing anybody that much.
Ooh, Cube trying to play the bush there. Still chunks out Avalon like crazy. Oh, but a shockwave onto Victor. Pop goes the Weasel. Guillaume falls down. It's a one-shot. And now 4 versus 5. Instinct can march forward for more. Good Boy on this side lane, continuing to own Guillaume. Eclipse maybe in a bit of danger here. Hovering the bot side is Gyu, looking for a little bit of answer. Down come the towers, and Eclipse is trying to kite it out. Great Zonyas from Gyu to keep himself alive. Eclipse flashes down, and down goes Donger. So a trade of 1 for 1, and these Eclipse Void Seekers are hitting. In the meantime, Good Boy sitting in the mid lane, picking up that tower. Tengen's there, looking for the hook. Does connect, but it's a bit too far to connect for more, potentially. Good Boy flashes out Eclipse. He's got to block it. Does so, but the hook still connects. In comes the traps. Flag net forward from Deborah to try to secure the gap, but in the meantime, Avalon and Arctic, they're hitting the towers. I can't keep up. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Akuza had to cut off Avalon there because he was going straight for Deborah here.
It's an
Akuza,
aggressive
though, hasn't
TP from
away.
Good Boy.
Oh my lord, nice trap. Good Boy is here though.
Ooh, Shockwave connects onto Deborah. Arctic, he's just got to run it down now. Finds the kill. Yet again, carries falling down at the hands of these Good Boy Shockwaves. And that is going to be 2 inhibs for Instinct, and they are turning their eyes towards their 3rd dragon.
Yeah, now that you have the Shadow Flame, the lack of MR shred from Bloodletters is you're starting to feel it because it looks like Avalon, Arctic, and Don Don through the redemption and the locket can start to like face tank a lot of what Heimer's throwing out right now. So it's this game is starting to go in favor of Instinct. And we can see this from the gold lead as well. This is about a 4,000 gold lead here. Both teams on Soul Point.
Yeah, I mean, Hashira just not getting the setup they need around this siege comp. They've just been getting picked out in the side lane by Instinct before they can, really establish themselves. And now with inhibs down, it's going to be even tougher to get that prio. We still have 2 minutes, a little over 2 minutes on Baron, but until then, Instinct, you got to think they're just going to still have their way in the side lane, run through, run around, whatever. You can see it here. They're pouncing through the jungle, getting some deep vision, and going to play for these last remaining open inhibs.
Well, that's a Negatron cloak now out for Avalon, so he's going towards some MR, full Maul of Malmortius. I forgot that Terminus, actually no, it doesn't, no, it does give you armor and MR up to 24 here, so, there's some MR coming out on this Kaisa now. It's like,
It's a matter of
with
if
that,
it will be enough.
well, now this Heimer's going for death cap, so there's legit going to be no form of magic penetration coming out. If I'm Volibear, it kind of feels bad now not to build like an Abyssal Mask or something like that as well.
Pillar onto Caitlyn. Gonna force the rest of Hashira back, both in the mid lane and the top lane. So that's 3 inhibs going over to Instinct. And Baron not up for another minute, so they're going to be able to hold this siege comfortably. Hashira just don't have that many easy go buttons here. You're looking for a thresh hook. Maybe someone oversteps, but you can't overstep yourself because Instinct will be there with the Nautilus Orianna to just pop you. And now they're playing the bush. Baron spawning in 50 seconds. At what point do Hashira approach? And can they do so safely?
Yeah, Victor's close to death cap here. He's got about 400 gold left, which is
you
not...
maybe caught out. Shockwave onto him. But the lantern out is enough.
Okay, no ult for this fight. So Tengen can start fishing here.
I think it will be up, if they wait on the Baron, which I imagine they will. Looks like recalls coming through now for the side of Instinct. I think they're just going to reset, gather their bearings, go for the Baron, and then we'll see if Hashira decide to draw the line there, or just hole up in their base and hope they can find another angle some other time. Caitlyn ult onto the Orianna. Akaza gonna try running at him. This is the kind of the best engage tool you got. It's not gonna be enough though. There's Avalon and Eclipse, 2 manning the Baron. Don on there for good measure to keep things safe. And the rest of Instinct just shepherding in the waves.
You gotta pull
it
the
looks
trigger
like
now, yeah.
they're looking for a fight in the bottom side of the map. Tengen frontlining. A stun does connect onto Arctic, who goes unstoppable and flashes forward towards his team, trying to get out of that one. Is going to be able to do so. So Hashira find nothing, and Don Don going in with the hook, falls just short. The Void Seeker hits the Wolves as well, but the ulti will connect onto the Caitlyn. Flash forward from Good Boy to get a 2-man shockwave onto both carries, and Eclipse is free to fire. He's marching on forward, looking for more. Void Seeker and pouncing onto the Heimerdinger. It's not enough for now, but with 2 members down, the 2 carries down for Hashira, it's just the Heimer, and the Heimer is not enough in this game 3. Instinct, look at all those minions. It's all but over. Another 40-minute banger, and Instinct claim this series 3-0.
Yep, and now they have a date with coin flip for the losers bracket finals, which is it's not only one of the most entertaining, like, consistent rivalries. They always seem to dodge each other in groups in regular season and play each other in playoffs, but I think Instinct has won every single game against coin flip.
Yeah, I mean they match up, I think, pretty well. Do Instinct do? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but coin flip has looked, you know, pretty good this split. So that'll be an
My
exciting matchup to
lord.
tune into for sure.
50k damage from Oriana, 48k from the Heimerdinger.
Oh my
Holy
gosh.
shit.
A lot of work. What a series, too. I mean, similar to the coin flip series. Yes, that was a 3-0, but both of those last two games going over 40 minutes. Some crazy team fights back and forth. It has been fun to witness.
Yeah, that's yeah, I know I listened into most of game 1, but didn't really get to see it, but then yeah, joining you with game 2, game 3. This is a really really entertaining, enjoyable series. And I mean, hats off to Hashira for showing the improvement that they've made from last split when they were Hidden Leaf. They got to playoffs but lost in first round. Um, they were actually the 3rd seed. And note, most of these guys are off roll, by the way, as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then to come in as number 1 seed, you know, you start beating some high quality teams. You get far in the into the playoffs. You get to losers bracket semis, and I mean, you know, you're the two teams that beat you are two legacy teams in Instinct and Coin Flip. So hats hats off to them, man. And they are some of the nicest people. I got a chance to sub for them once, and they are really really a class active people.
hmm Yeah, I mean, they've been fun to watch all split long. I think very dynamic, very explosive. We can see it with some of Yu's picks, Akaza's early games, and the rest of their kind of just team fighting in terms of zone control and positioning. I feel like that's a very unique style that you don't always see kind of at this level of amateur where you tend to see more just balls to the walls fighting. They play a more calculated style. Didn't bring them over the edge this time, but it's been an absolute joy to watch all season long and hope to see them back.
Yeah, for sure. Do you want to try to get an interview? Do you got time for that?
If you are, I'm probably gonna jump out.
Well, it is
But
your stream, my friend.
oh shoot, it is. Okay. Uh, yeah, sorry. If you want, then yeah, go ahead. I may just
No,
jump
no,
out
no.
and
It's
mute
all good.
myself.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So we can call it here.
Yeah, thank you. You can. I'm
So
sure maybe snag someone for like a brief segment leading into Midwest Weekly or something.
yeah, yeah, for sure. We'll look at that. I think I don't know when we're gonna record that. But we'll keep everybody in the loop. I think we're gonna try to do it early this week
Yeah,
since the games got played. But
looking forward to it.
yeah, man. Much love. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, that was another great stream. GG's to both teams, and we'll see you next time. Bye.